At Marlins Park in Miami, Florida, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Optimum. For the best offers on TV, internet, and phone, visit Optimum.com. By Hyundai, there's no better time to buy a new Hyundai than now. See your local Hyundai dealer or visit buyhyundai.com. By Investors Bank, banking in your best interest. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or online at mybobs.com. Well, it was only 11 days ago that Noah Syndergaard threw the first pitch of the season at Citi Field. And boy, we've seen a lot through the first 10 games of this marathon, saying hello again to old friends. Pitches thrown behind Asdrubal Carrera's head. A hot start for Jay Bruce. A 3-home run game for Yoenis Cespedes. And last night, a marathon with many heroes in a 16-inning Mets win. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets continue their series against the Marlins after a 5-hour and 38-minute 16-inning Mets victory last night, capped by Travis d'Arnaud's home run in the 16th inning. There was a lot to unpack from last night's game and a lot of heroes for this team.
Well, you know, the one thing going into the season was the concern about the middle relief, and with Familia out, it even taxed that middle relief more. Well, geez, 11 and a third scoreless innings last night, and the things that stick out in my mind are Josh Smoker just really threw the best I've seen him throw. He's developed this changeup, Gary, that has good sink. That makes him a crossover pitcher. I think he's more effective against right-handers. That is the best I've seen him throw. He threw 3 strong innings. Salas has been solid. Reed has been solid. Now tonight, they're going to need a lot out of Syndergaard because that bullpen really got taxed last night.
Well, both teams have made adjustments to their bullpen to try and compensate, but there are plenty of arms unavailable for Terry Collins. And so Syndergaard, who beat these Marlins 5 days ago, gets another crack at them tonight.
Well, it's a rematch with Edison Volquez. And of course, this is the guy you lean on right here. This is the new Dwight Gooden, the new Tom Seaver. If you're going to be the stopper, this was a big win last night. The team that goes home with a short night's sleep that loses a heartbreaker like that, they're down. You got the ace going here. It's incumbent on Syndergaard to go there and run up some goose eggs.
Now, Adam Conley was supposed to start for the Marlins tonight, but he pitched the 16th inning and gave up the game-winning home run. So Edison Volquez gets moved up a day to pitch tonight.
Well, Volquez is on full rest, so he'll be fine. The journeyman veteran pitcher, he's had his ups and downs throughout his career. He got beat by Syndergaard. 2 home runs he gave up at Citi Field to Bruce and Conforto. They're both in the lineup tonight.
Mets have won 5 in a row. They had to work overtime last night. They'll try and keep it going tonight at the spaceship that is Marlins Park. Mets and Marlins, all the action coming up on SNY. Jeep and the unique brand of freedom you'll only find in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. By New York Community Bank and the NYCB family of banks. Visit them at mynycb.com. And by Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. Be at Citi Field Saturday, April 22nd when the Mets take on the Nationals at 4:05. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Matt Harvey Garden Gnome, courtesy of Citi. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Time for unlimited baseball coverage brought to you by T-Mobile. Tonight in Los Angeles, the former running mates, Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke, will go head-to-head. There you see the career numbers. Kershaw putting up some of the best pitching numbers of all time through the first half of his career. And Greinke, who had a rough beginning to his Arizona contract last year, hoping for a fast start this year. His Diamondbacks are off to a 7-3 start. South Florida. It was a long night last night. What beckons tonight? Mets go for 6 in a row. First pitch is coming right up. Evolve into a batter's box. Your Coors Banquet timeless moment gives you an idea. We've suspended time. We've sped it up. There it is.
Made me dizzy.
Got a batter's box, foul lines. It's a baseball field now. And that's where the Mets and Marlins will play tonight, on a baseball field. Curtis Granderson getting set to lead it off. Geico starting lineup. Yoenis Cespedes sits for the Mets. Giancarlo Stanton sits for the Marlins. So each team with their big guy out of the lineup. Cespedes was battling the flu last night and somehow made his way through 16 innings. Oh, by the way, hit a couple of home runs along the way. Syndergaard hits 8th tonight. First time the Mets have batted the pitcher out of the 9-hole this year. Edinson Volquez's first pitch is in for a strike, and we're underway.
And Edinson Volquez, there's his numbers. We said in the open he lost his second start to Syndergaard. This is a rematch. His first start, he threw 5 scoreless at Washington.
Granderson bunting with the third base side open, but the catcher Realmuto on it quickly and throws him out. Well, it's catching Jay Bruce did it last night successfully. Granderson figured he'd try to follow suit as the Marlins opened up the left side after the first strike, but he couldn't get it far enough away from home plate.
Well, good effort there, good try, and really very athletic Realmuto behind the plate. He covered that bunt like a white on rice.
Some people prefer brown rice.
It's better for you, brown rice.
It is indeed.
I have it with my sushi.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera 1 for 8 last night. Took him to the 16th inning to get his lone hit. It's the latest that any Met has extended a hitting streak as long as Cabrera's, which is now at 8 games. There were a lot of latest last night. Travis d'Arnaud was the latest in a game for the Mets ever to hit a home run after catching to that point. Fly ball hit to left field. And Marcell Ozuna drifts back, makes the catch. Roof is closed tonight, so the ball is carrying a little bit better than it did last night when the wind was blowing in.
Yeah, we're a little upset about that, but we'll just go right into the Coors Light Marlin defense, and that outfield is outstanding. Ozuna made a terrific throw throughout Cespedes last night. On the infield, Rojas goes to shortstop. And Realmuto, who sat out last night, he is having a terrific start at the plate. He is back in the lineup hitting in that 2-hole.
So here is Jay Bruce, who had that bunt hit last night. One of 3 hits Jay had in the game. He hit the ball to the left side of the field 6 separate times.
Yes, he did. And he hit a couple bullets to left field, which was very impressive.
He's got good career numbers against Volquez. 9 for 19 with a couple of home runs. And he lifts this one to left field. Along the line comes Ozuna, and he gets there to retire the side. 6 pitches, and Volquez gets through the Mets 1-2-3. Noah Syndergaard takes them out from the bottom of the first when we come back. Beautiful evening outside. For some reason, they have battened down the hatches. Don't get it.
Beautiful day today. I actually in my hotel room today. I opened my sliding glass door all day. Turned off the air conditioning. It's just beautiful down here.
6th year that this ballpark has been open. Only 45 times have they opened the roof in the 6 years. And you see the fish tank behind home plate. The home run sculpture ready to go. Noah Syndergaard trying to keep it from moving tonight, as D. Gordon leads off and takes a fastball outside from Syndergaard. Noah has been nothing but phenomenal so far through his first 2 starts. 6 scoreless innings against the Braves on opening day. 7 strong innings against the Marlins on Sunday night. And there's the Hyundai starting lineup. No Stanton, so Marcell Ozuna moves into the cleanup spot. Ichiro Suzuki At age 43, gets his first start of the season, batting 7th and playing right field. And Gordon bluffs a bunt and takes up and away a changeup. 2-1. Gordon had the only big hit against Syndergaard in that game Sunday night. He slashed a 2-run double down the left field line.
There's your Land Rover numbers. No walks over the first 13 innings this year.
No walks, 16 strikeouts. No Met has ever done that before. No starter to begin a season had that many strikeouts before their first walk. But Syndergaard keeps going places that very few have traveled before.
Very simplistic motion. 13 innings, 16 strikeouts for the big Norseman.
Picturing him on a Viking ship now. 2-2 coming, and Gordon slashes one foul. 98 miles an hour from Syndergaard. Noah's final strikeout Sunday night was the 400th of his career. He reached 400 strikeouts in only 57 games. The only active pitcher to do it quicker, Yu Darvish, who did it in 50 games. 2-2 to Gordon, and that's just inside. Thought he might get the call. We have a new umpiring crew tonight, a brand new team from the one that started the series last night. They've moved on. DJ Rayburn has the plate tonight. Mike DeMuro at first, Trip Gibson at second, and the crew chief Brian Gorman at third. The last thing that crew needed last night was a 16-inning game on their getaway day. Gordon lines one to left field, and Conforto short hops it. It's a base hit for D. Gordon to start the bottom of the first.
Nice hitting. After that fastball in that just missed, he stayed in on this fastball. Did nice short hop by Conforto. Good effort. Good hitting by Gordon, the batting champ, former batting champ. He's a nice player.
Gordon had a rough year last year, half a year of suspension that didn't perform up to his previous capabilities, but he's off to a good start this year. Now it's a 9-game hitting streak. JT Realmuto hitting second in the order. He might be one of the better rested players. He only played briefly last night. Pinch hit and grounded out. A.J. Ellis caught all 16 innings. That's grounded to short. Might be 2 on the backhand. Cabrera throws it wide. It rolls into shallow right. Gordon goes to third. Bruce charging it. And the Marlins will have runners at second and third. Well, that's the last thing in the world you expect. Cabrera, normally so sure with his throws, made a terrible throw wide of Flores. And runners are at second and third.
Well, he knew he had to throw it quick with the speedy Gordon on the ball in the hole. Just like you said, Garrett, very rare. Solid shortstop. Everybody makes errors. It's just so unusual to see him make one there. And good hustle on the back end by Realmuto. Second and third, nobody out. Infield back.
So Syndergaard presented with an early test. A single and an error put 2 men in scoring position for Christian Yelich. Mets will play the infield back and concede a run on a ground ball. Yelich 1 for 5 last night. Had an RBI walk.
2 for 12 career, short career against Syndergaard.
Oh, a little bit off early on. Missed with that first pitch curveball to Yelich. Marcell Ozuna's hitting cleanup. He's on deck. And it's hit out to left center. That'll get a run in at least. Granderson back. Makes the catch. Gordon in. Realmuto to third. 1-0 Miami on the sacrifice fly from Christian Yelich.
I don't think that Syndergaard right now has his really good fastball. Try to come inside, and he's getting a little bit of that bleeding out over the middle right there. We'll keep an eye on it.
So the Marlins get an early run, and now they've got a runner at third with 1 out with Marcell Ozuna coming up. Ozuna delivered the keynote last night with a grand slam in the first inning. Also made the last out of the game on a long fly ball in the 16th inning. Mets bring the infield most of the way in, and Syndergaard pops one inside for ball 1.
I know that Syndergaard has talked about getting a lot of movement on his fastball. I just don't want him to forget his four-seamer. That explosive dart he can throw.
Grounded down to third. The runner holds. Reyes makes the play on Ozuna, and that's a big second out for Syndergaard. Thought they might send Realmuto on contact, try and steal a run early in the game, particularly with Syndergaard on the mound. But they opted to keep him put, and so he's still at third with 2 out.
Ball hit too hard. He'd have been dead as a doornail here.
So 2 out, and now Justin Bour. Bour was 1 for 7 in the game last night. And he takes a big rip and a changeup, 0-1.
Bour is a big guy. He needs to get closer to the plate. If he wants to get up there and pull, and he has the ability to go the other way, but he pulls off a little bit. If he gets closer, I think he'd have more success.
Well, it certainly leaves him vulnerable to that changeup, and Syndergaard's thrown him 2 in a row. So Noah mixing in his secondary stuff very early in this game. Hasn't gone to his slider. He's ahead now on Bour 0-2. Realmuto at third and 2 out. And he struck him out on 3 pitches. There's the slider from Syndergaard to end the inning. So Noah able to minimize the damage. An unearned run after the Cabrera error. And we go to the second in Miami with the Mets down 1-0. Is it not? That's what we're missing with the roof closed.
It's very romantic.
Well, yes. Waves lapping against the shore. A beautiful sunset in the distance. Lucas Duda leads off in the second against Edison Volquez, who's been staked to a 1-0 lead. Got a couple of clarifications from Terry Collins on a couple of managerial moves he made last night in that long game. One of them was to bring Duda into the game in the 4th inning and take T.J. Rivera out. And basically what Terry said is that once Wei-Yin Chen, the lefty starter, was out of the game, the plan was to get Duda in there because Duda had great matchups against the entire Marlins bullpen, which did not have a lefty. And so he wanted to get Duda in as quickly as possible. As it turned out, Duda went 0 for 4. Hits this one behind the bag, though, and now he has a base hit against Volquez. And the Mets have their first base runner of the night. Didn't hit it hard, but found the middle of the diamond.
Hit it hard enough, Gare, and I like what I see from Lucas. And Lucas frustrated me so much over the years. It's a hanging slider right there. Hits up the middle. with his constant taking of pitches and getting deep in the count, he's finally gotten rid of that nonsense. And he's going up to the plate, taking some rips and being aggressive. And he's a big, strong guy. You want this guy walking? You want him swinging the bat.
And Michael Conforto getting the start in left field tonight, with Cespedes getting the night off. Conforto was the guy who kept us here all night with his pinch hit RBI double in the 8th to tie the game, and then the bullpen settled in and nobody scored until the 16th.
Well, he's been terrific so far, young Michael, and he's looking for an opportunity to play. Came in camp a little lighter, in great shape, had a great spring, and it's carrying over into April.
He's only had 12 at bats, but already 5 hits, including 2 home runs and that double last night. Volquez pops the inside corner with a fastball, 1-1.
Conforto just got a little bit, I think, home run happy last year and pull happy. He's got to stay line drives. He's such a strong kid. You get under the ball swinging level, it's going to go out.
Well, plus he has such power gap to gap.
Yes.
So that home run he hit in Philadelphia the other day, 430 feet to left center. Curveball fouled off, 1-2.
And I know last year I was crowing that he should move into the third hole, and they moved him into the third hole, and they played him against a left-hander, and it kind of all went downhill there. Maybe he wasn't ready emotionally, but I still feel very strongly, Gary, that this is a third hitter right here, a classic third hitter if he stays with the line drives, and that can move Cespedes to clean up. He was a classic cleanup hitter.
Conforto in the 5-hole tonight, batting with Duda at first and nobody out. Wilmer Flores waiting on deck, and Conforto goes down swinging on the changeup, and Volquez has his first strikeout of the night.
Well, it gave him a lot of dip-de-doo here. One fastball in and a couple of sliders down and in, and then this changeup to go get him.
Volquez now with his 7th different major league team. Met some, of course, in the World Series with Kansas City 2 years ago. He started Game 1 and Game 5. Didn't get a decision in either one, but the Royals won both those games in extra innings. Those are his numbers from that World Series. That's grounded past Volquez toward the middle. Gordon with a great stop, gets the force, and Rojas with the relay not in time. Tremendous play by D. Gordon to take a base hit away from Flores and get the out at second base.
Well, he's one half of that keystone up the middle there, and this is just a fabulous play. Echeverria, the shortstop on the disabled list right now, is a fine shortstop. It's as good a middle infield when Echeverria is there as any in the major leagues. Beautiful play by Gordon.
The Marlins are contemplating whether to challenge the call at first base, but they declined to do so. So Flores at first with 2 out, and now Jose Reyes. Reyes didn't start last night. He did have a pinch hit single in his only at bat in the 6th inning, so maybe that will help get him going. Just his 3rd hit in 38 at bats this season. And Volquez misses low and away for ball 1.
Trying to get it going, Jose. They're working on him a little bit. They found some flaws, they said, mechanically in his swing. I've seen one. You know, it's tough when you get off to a bad start from the get-go, because your numbers are up there and they're stark.
Yeah, 079 doesn't look good on anybody.
No, you don't want to be running up there with that on full display. It's a big scoreboard too.
Lots of numbers.
Hard to. It's almost too much. It's like sensory overload.
Well, nothing was bigger than that scoreboard at Turner Field, where they have those enormous pictures of the players. They're scary looking. They're so big. Of course, the Braves are opening their new ballpark tonight, SunTrust Park.
It's the Cardinals.
No, the Padres.
Padres, sorry.
Cardinals are at Yankee Stadium tonight.
That's right. What am I thinking? You always correct me when I'm wrong. I like that.
I only try and set you in the right direction. The rest is up to you.
Thank you.
Reyes sitting 7th in the order. Syndergaard is batting 8th tonight, so he's on deck. Volquez behind on Reyes 3-0. And Jose takes ball 4, so Syndergaard will come up with 2 men on. First walk given up by Volquez. Volquez had a really rough season last year. He had 2 good years in a row, 14 with the Pirates, 15 with the Royals. But then last year his numbers were just awful. He was 10-11, 5.37 ERA, too many walks, not enough strikeouts. Hoping for a rebound with Miami after signing a 2-year deal.
Well, I remember him with the Reds. I'm sorry, the Padres, where he just took all day and all night till the cows came home to throw a pitch.
So here's Syndergaard, 2 for 5 to start the year, 4 career home runs, and the fastball outside from Volquez, ball 1. First time this year that Terry has hit the pitcher in the 8-hole. Rene Rivera is batting 9th. And Terry said really it's mostly because if Rivera gets on, it's hard to bunt him to second because he's slow. So he'd rather have Reyes sitting in front of Syndergaard. And of course Syndergaard is not your average pitcher when it comes to swinging the bat.
He can leave a ballpark. He's done it.
The plan is, by the way, for d'Arnaud to sit 2 days in a row after catching 16 innings last night. So Rivera will catch DeGrom as well tomorrow and probably bat 9th again. Volquez has missed with 6 in a row now.
Big night for that guy. Good cut by Syndergaard.
D'Arnaud's beginning to this season is one of the real bright spots in these first 10 games.
4 hits last night and 4 ribeye steaks and a game-winning home run.
And he had a 3-hit home run game in Philadelphia on Tuesday. So the returns, the early returns, have been very bright for d'Arnaud. Flores at second, Reyes at first with 2 out. And Syndergaard takes one just off the plate. 94 from Volquez, and now it's 3-1.
Did you like the original uniforms of the Marlins, Gary, when they had the teal hats? And
yeah, they were fun.
You get a little color. I don't like this.
A lot of color now.
Yep.
Away 3-2. Although, as you were saying last night, these white uniforms, their home uniforms,
they're nice,
pretty spiffy.
They're nice. I'd like to see a little get away from that. Is it black or navy blue? Looks black.
It's black.
I would like to see it, maybe some more color, but it's whatever. I'm not the owner.
You could be. The team's for sale. Maybe you could get a group together.
There we go.
The 97 Marlins, who won it all. Jim Leyland. Runners get set to go. 3-2, 2 out. And Syndergaard takes ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So back-to-back walks to the 7 and 8 hitters. And the Mets have the bases loaded and 2 down with the number 9 hitter, Rene Rivera, coming up. Now Rivera wound up playing first base in the game last night for the last 5 innings, had 2 at bats. It turns out, and remember that Hansel Robles, we assumed was going to be unavailable, that Robles called down to the dugout and said he was available. Otherwise, Rivera was going to pitch, and Zach Wheeler was going to play first base. That was the plan until Robles called down to volunteer. So Rivera was at an unusual position. He could have been at a more unusual one. First pitch curveball from Volquez misses. And all of a sudden, the plate has become a mystery to Edinson Volquez.
Mets are with a four-man bench. They made a move today, Gare.
Called up Sean Gilmartin to bolster that beleaguered bullpen and sent T.J. Rivera back to AAA. Bases loaded, 2 out. And Rivera takes it low. 2-0. And Realmuto will run it back out there. Well, you know, in terms of that bullpen tonight, Terry said before the game, Addison Reed's not available. Josh Smoker, who went 3 innings last night, not available. Hansel Robles, who's pitched 4 days in a row, not available. So basically, Fernando Salas, who's pitched in 7 of 10 games, is available, and he'd be the closer tonight with Jerry Blevins to set him up. But it's one of those nights where Syndergaard needs to get deep into the game.
We thought that possibly Montero would be sent down with a new fresh arm coming up, but they opted after that 16-inning game last night. I don't know whether to give him a ton of pressure here. The depressor.
Well, it's not like it's raining out. The roof is closed, so it would be unusual to have mud in your spikes. But Volquez is taking a moment.
He's got some dirt in there.
Maybe they overwatered the mound before the game. I mean, normally this is what you see on a rainy day, not in a dome. Volquez struggling to throw strikes. He's walked 2 in a row and behind on Rivera 2-0 with the bases loaded. As a team, we're batting .311 with runners in scoring position over the first 10 games of the season. And Rivera hits one out to left field. Ozuna has it lined up, and that retires the side. So Volquez able to escape trouble in the second inning as the Mets leave them loaded. 1-0 Miami. The more you save. Every strikeout thrown by a Mets pitcher against the Phillies and Marlins saves you 1% off select tickets to the upcoming homestand April 18th through the 27th. For more information, visit Mets.com/strikeouts. Having Noah Syndergaard on the mound tonight might enhance that promotion. Well, Edinson Volquez clearly was having issues with the mud in his spikes, and he's taken that shoe off and he's still digging at it. I'm going to have to take that up with the grounds crew.
Get a chisel.
Derek Dietrich leads off the home second and takes a strike from Syndergaard. A first pitch changeup. Dietrich 1 for 3 last night, hitting a .261.
He's had some success off of Syndergaard.
5 for 10 in his career, and he throws one by him. 0-2. Dietrich filling in at third base with Martin Prado out with a hamstring injury. The hope is that Prado will be back by Monday. He's been out since the WBC. Their shortstop Echeverria also out. A little looper on the right side of the infield, and Flores is there to grab it. One away.
Well, here's his motion here. Syndergaard, don't blink because you might miss it. There's not much to it. No take back, just right to leg up, stays his glove, stays at the belt, a big long stride. Very, very, very simplistic motion.
It's a big, strong man out there. Here's Ichiro. Slaps one in the air to center. Granderson right there waiting for it. And quickly there are 2 out. Well, it's belated, but here's your defense, Keith.
Oh, I'm so much looking forward to it. Lexus Medi defense. Conforto gets the start out in left field today. Got the big hit last night. Pinch hit double in the 8th. On the infield, Wilmer shows his versatility. That helps him get in the lineup. He's at second base. Reyes returns to third. And Rivera, who was the Tim McCarver, to Syndergaard.
Does that mean he's going to be your replacement? Rene Rivera? It's a very likable guy.
He's very likable. Good teammate, Rene.
Rojas 3 hits last night, went 3 for 7, but also popped up in a huge spot against Jerry Blevins in the 7th. Well, Syndergaard since the beginning of last year, right up among the elite.
Kershaw's, that's just an incredible 1.83.
He's one for the ages. Look at Kershaw's ERA, and it reminds me that today is Greg Maddox's birthday. 51 today. One of the best of all time.
Did you say it was Pete Rose's birthday too? No.
Was it Pete? Is it Pete's birthday today as well?
I'm not sure.
I believe you're right. Hit toward the hole. That's a base hit for Rojas. So that'll enable the Marlins to clear the pitcher spot in the 2nd inning.
And I suppose we'd be remiss, Gare, we didn't mention that our boss, Mr. Kurt Gowdy Jr., it's his birthday today.
And he shares many traits with Pete Rose and Greg Maddux. Leader in his field.
Right. So yesterday, we didn't mention it, was Pete Rose got his first base hit of his career in 1963 off Bob Friend. It was a triple.
Broken back grinder by Volquez. And Flores throws him out to end the inning. So Syndergaard creates some kindling and gets through the 2nd unscathed. 1-0 Miami. There are a lot of things you can do with your hands in this game. You can throw a pitch, you can swing a bat, but you can also bond with your teammates.
Well, this team has been together for quite some time. They know each other well, and they like each other. They work well together. It's always good to have a cohesive clubhouse.
And it is a veteran clubhouse, and one with a great sense of purpose. Most of these guys were here 2 years ago when the Mets fell just short of their goal. They battled through adversity last year to get back to the postseason, but this is a team that believes it can be a World Series champion, and that, of course, is every player's goal.
I sensed it in spring training, Gary, that there was a different, a sense of a positive feel to everybody in that clubhouse, particularly once they got rid of, did some cuts, and it got down pretty much to where the club was ready to go north. The last 2 weeks of spring training. They do have a purpose. You are correct. You're 100%.
Granderson tried to bunt his way on his first time up. DJ Rayburn, I think, has something in his eye. He's all set now. 1-2 from Volquez, and the breaking ball at the feet of Granderson, and he'll go do the housekeeping. Look at that. Saved the bat boy a trip. Curtis is just an all-around good guy. That's why, part of why he won the Roberto Clemente Award. He's willing to help out everybody.
He is a good man. There's no doubt.
Incredibly generous with his time.
Sure is.
Loves to meet fans, sign autographs.
He's a better man than me when it comes to that.
You can be a little snarly sometimes.
No, not anymore. When I was in uniform.
3-2 coming. And that's too high. Ball four. So after Volquez got ahead 0-2, he loses Granderson to a leadoff walk, and Volquez has now walked 3 of the last 4 batters. Not a recipe for success.
Well, leadoff walks have a way of scoring the great majority of the time.
Keith, I've got a great note here that has nothing to do with the Mets,
okay,
but for someone who thinks about these things, it's a great moment tonight in the history of Major League Baseball.
Okay.
The Chicago White Sox tonight are starting an outfield of Willie Garcia in left field, Lurie Garcia in center field, and Avisail Garcia in right field. It's the first time in Major League history that a team has started 3 players with the same last name in their starting outfield. Now, the 3 Alou brothers did play together in a game, but they didn't all start.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. It has been confirmed. So the 3 Garcias starting in the outfield for the White Sox. I mean, it's trivia heaven.
I've never heard of him.
Well, obviously, Garcia, you've heard of him. The other 2 are younger players.
Are you sure the Alous didn't start? Oh, because they wouldn't, because of Mays. Of course, Mays would be in.
They did get in the game together and play in the same outfield. It was against the Mets, I think, when they were all with the Giants. But they did not start.
Jesus was more of a left fielder. Matty Alou could play center, and Philippe Alou was a heck of a right fielder.
He was the biggest hitter of the 3.
Yes.
Matty, though, turned himself into a great hitter, great singles hitter.
Yes, he got traded by the Giants over to Pittsburgh Pirates when Harry the Hat Walker was manager there, and Harry was a great inside-out hitter, and it was a perfect fit. Matty Alou was 5'9", around 160 pounds. He wasn't going to hit home runs. He became an inside-out hitter and won a batting title in Pittsburgh.
To Cabrera, who flied out his first time up, and his dribble fouls it off. So Harry the Hat Walker, good for some hitters, not necessarily for others.
Well, he almost ruined me. I'll tell you that. I have a lot to say in my book that I'm working on, my autobiography. He's going to be a big part of it in my early years in the major leagues. But he doggone near ruined me.
It is interesting how certain organizations, certain coaches will try and mold players in a certain way, which sometimes is beneficial to their career and sometimes not.
I've discovered a letter that Joe Ducky Medwick sent to my father. Joe was the batting instructor when I got called up, and Medwick said, let's just keep Harry Walker away from your son. I found that very interesting.
Cabrera pounds that curveball foul.
And Harry had all good intentions. But he wanted to make everybody the hitter that he was, and I wasn't that kind of hitter.
Well, we've seen the same in other organizations. When Walt Riniak became the hitting coach first in Chicago, then in Boston, worked great for guys like Rich Gedman, not so great for other guys.
When he went over to the White Sox, they had the whole minor league system hitting the way he hit. And Ted Williams, that was the old Charlie Lau way of hitting.
Outside the Cabrera, 2-2.
And you know, interesting, I read a quote a long time ago about George Brett, and George Brett said, hey, there were certain things that Charlie Lau was the hitting coach at Kansas City.
Right.
He said that I incorporated into my swing, but not everything. I didn't agree with everything, but a few things worked and made me a better hitter. But George was not a Charlie Lau type hitter.
No, well, he was a lot more power than what Lau espoused.
George was one of the best hitters of his generation.
8th pitch to Cabrera, and that's on the inside corner. Strike 3 call. So Volquez able to get the call on the inside from DJ Rayburn, and he has his second strikeout of the night.
Fastball, a little movement, started out around 3 inches off the plate inside, and then it creeps back over. Look at freezes Cabrera, and he's mad at himself. Hit the inside corner. Good pitch.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Jay Bruce, who flied out his first time up.
Well, it's good to see Jay off to a good start. It was a tough year for him last year coming over. Well, not year. He had a terrific year, but in the blue and orange, it was tough on him last year. But he is settled in and scorching hot.
Well, he had a really good last week and a half last year and a really good first week and a half this year. In fact, he's if you go back to last season, he's now been on base 18 straight games, and he made a vow coming into spring training once he knew he was going to be a Met this year that he would show his true self. He said that to Terry Collins first thing in spring training, and boy, if the first 2 weeks are any indication, it's exactly what's happening. Volquez again behind in the count, 2-0 to Bruce with Duda on deck. Granderson at first and 1 out. Mets down a run in the 3rd. And Bruce hits one toward the hole, and that gets through for a base hit. Granderson's going first to 3rd. Yelich has a shot at him. The slide, he gets hit in the back, and the ball rolls free. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out. So with the shift on, Bruce hitting it just to the left of second base, and that was enough to get it through.
Well, he's done enough, don't you think, in the first game and a half here in this series, that you think you'd wouldn't put the shift on so much. Broke his bat here, but up the middle, and good base running by Granderson, challenging Yelich.
Well, everything that Bruce has hit in this series has been to the left of second base. The Mets as a team seem to be thinking that way. Duda's hit the ball to left. Granderson and Bruce have both laid down bunts. Where are the hits? Well, the Mets are trying to seek them out. First and 3rd and 1 out. Here's Duda, who hit one up the middle for a base hit his first time up.
I like Duda in the cleanup role.
And Lucas fouls off the fastball. 96 from Volquez, the hardest pitch he's thrown.
And Lucas going after a first pitch. How many times over as long as he's been a Met here in a Met uniform, we've seen him take a first pitch. He has been so aggressive this year, and I love it.
And the results have been good. Came into the night with a slugging percentage just under 600. That's what you want to see from your big left-handed slugger. Curveball inside, 1-1. Lucas was limited to 47 games last year, and the hopes is that the Mets can keep him in the lineup after the fractured back last year limited him. curveball wraps around the plate. Volquez just all over the place tonight. 2-1.
He's cruising for a bruising, Garrett. Missing with the breaking ball, falling behind. This is a very powerful lineup. There are only 2 right-handers in the lineup here. He's got, obviously, you do the math, 7 left-hand hitters in the lineup that he's got to face,
including Syndergaard. Granderson at third, Bruce at first with 1 out. And Duda goes after the changeup. 2-2.
And a good one. Down and in a good spot.
And his best pitch so far tonight.
It's become the old American League in Major League Baseball now. They want, behind the count, secondary. Changeups become the big pitch. You got to make the adjustment.
2-2 coming. And Duda takes a very close pitch.
Wow. I tell you what,
full count.
Volquez is not. Look at him. He's back behind the mound on the grass. Boy, oh boy.
Well, that could have gone either way.
That's too close to take. I thought that was a pitcher's pitch.
Well, do you put Bruce in motion here, try and stay out of the double play, maybe get a run home on a ground ball? Or do you risk the strike him out, throw him out?
I hold him.
Not going, and Duda walks to load the bases. 4th walk in the first 2 1/3 innings, given up by Edison Volquez, and he may let his emotions get away with him after that ball 3 call. And Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, is going to go out and try and settle him down.
He's already got 50 pitches.
Oh, remember, he only threw 6 pitches in the first inning, so it's taken him 44 more to get 4 more outs.
He's got a 2nd consecutive inning with the bases intoxicated.
I wonder also, he was not supposed to pitch tonight. He was supposed to get an extra day's rest and pitch tomorrow night. And I wonder for a pitcher how difficult it is to make that adjustment when you're on that routine of getting ready to pitch Saturday and all of a sudden you find out you're going to pitch Friday.
Well, I think he was notified in plenty of time. The Mets sent home Syndergaard early last night, thank goodness. When the game became long, they sent him out to go back to the hotel and get a good night's sleep. I'm sure they did the same for Volquez.
Well, once Conley came in the game, that changed the plan. He was supposed to pitch this game. So now Conforto, bases loaded, 1 out, and Michael lays off the curveball. Ball 1.
That's the key right there. Get ahead in the count. You don't swing at that bad baiting slider, and you're 1-0 with the bases loaded and the pitcher's in trouble.
2 walks wrapped around a base hit by Bruce to fill the bases for the 2nd straight inning. And that skips in. Realmuto did a nice job scooping up that changeup in the dirt. 2-0.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult when you got the bases loaded to throw that behind the count changeup. That's all great. He did it to Duda. But if you don't do it here, now you're 2-0. What are you going to do?
He is in a very tough spot against Conforto, who's been swinging the bat so well. Michael struck out his first time up.
Big shift on the right side of the infield.
Granderson at third, Bruce at second, Duda at first.
Well, this is a mess of his own making. Volquez's own making, Gary.
He had walked only 2 batters in 11 innings in his first 2 starts, but 4 walks already tonight. Now behind Conforto, 2-0. And Michael takes a fastball away, ball 3.
Boy, I have to get someone up in that bullpen.
So what do you do here if you're Terry Collins? Do you give Conforto a take sign?
No. Yes. I'm sorry. I thought, yes, you give him the take sign because he's been wild. And 3-1 and 3-2, if he gets there, are a thing of beauty anyway. So he's going to have the take. I'd be surprised if he gets a hit sign.
Wilmer Flores on deck. 3-0 with the bases loaded. And Conforto gets the hit sign and flies one out to left center. Yelich has space. Tagging at third, Granderson. Yelich makes the catch. Granderson comes home to tie the game.
Surprised Bruce at second didn't tag up. Big outfield.
So Conforto, given the hit sign on 3-0, lifts a sacrifice fly. His 5th run batted in, and this game is tied at 1.
It's a fastball sinking away, and don't try to pull it. He didn't. He just got under it. It's got a little bit of that uppercut. This ball's hit deep here, and Yelich, who he's tracking the ball. You get a look at the runner. He's conceding third base. He's trying to keep the double play in order. Oh, there's 2 outs. Sorry.
But trying to keep Duda out of scoring position.
Correct.
So the Mets load the bases for the 2nd straight inning. This time they've cashed a run. Flores robbed of a hit on a terrific play by Gordon on a grounder up the middle his first time up.
He's behind on Flores as well now. Boy.
And that's up and in 2-0. We talked about the Mets making a pitcher move, bringing up Sean Gilmartin and sending down T.J. Rivera. The Marlins also made a move. They sent down Nick Whitgren. Whitgren worked 3 innings last night. Was great, but he was a victim of the long game. He got sent down in favor of Harleen Garcia, a left-hander, a good prospect for the Marlins, who got called up from Double-A, and he's here tonight.
Nice reward for your 3 shutout innings.
Yeah.
9 up, 9 down.
He'll be back. I mean, he was the guy with options, the guy they could spare. 2-0 to Flores, and Wilmer grounds 1 foul. So both teams forced to make moves because they left the cupboard bare in the bullpen. The only relief pitcher on either side who was not used last night was the Marlins closer A.J. Ramos, who got up briefly in the 9th inning and then never came in, having pitched the previous 2 days, but he's available tonight. Two on, 2 out. And Wilmer takes up and in, and again Volquez falls behind 3-1. Tomorrow night, game 3 of this series, Jacob deGrom makes his 3rd start of the year. Adam Conley, who took the loss in relief last night, gets his start pushed back to tomorrow. Matt Harvey goes Sunday afternoon against the former Cincinnati Red Dan Straley.
And deGrom, 2 nice outings, righted himself early. They didn't have it in Philly. He's due for a W. Harvey's been fabulous.
I'll tell you what, he didn't have it the first inning in Philly, but and we've seen this so often from Jake. Even on the nights when he doesn't pitch well, he keeps the team in the game, gives them a chance, and the Mets have wound up winning that game.
He knows how to fight through a outing where he doesn't have his good stuff. Harvey's been wonderful, and it's so good to see. I got very worried when he came up lame there, but thank goodness it was only a cramp. Let's hope it was only a cramp.
Runners get set to go. Bruce at second, Duda at first. 3-2 to Flores, and he drives one deep down the left field line. Hit it right toward the pole. Foul. Just foul.
Wilmer likes that ball down. That's a good. Ooh, 15 feet. Hooked.
Nice catch.
Volquez gets out of this with 1 run. Boy, he's living right. Whatever he did today, he's got to do it again next time he's out there.
Flores homered last night. Came close to another, and now he grounds 1 foul. Well, you said it during spring training, Keith, that you felt as though Wilmer was getting a little bit more productive against right-handed pitching.
He just needs to play too. Another one of those guys. It's still a little bit suspect. Can Wilmer give you 150 games? He's getting bigger and stronger. He's still very, very young. But this is all part of what this team has matured and developed. This confidence from the players that I see and I saw all spring.
Playing second base tonight, giving Neil Walker a day off, which was scheduled. Walker was going to sit against the lefty, and then Terry Collins said, you want to take the day off anyway after 16 innings, and Neil said probably wouldn't be a bad idea. So Flores in the lineup. Eighth pitch of the at bat coming from Volquez, and he grounds one back to Volquez. Not sure he knew he had it, but he makes the play to retire the side, and he limits the damage to just the 1 run. Let's load him up for the second straight inning. I looked up, and there was that pearl in my glove. Mets and Marlins tied at 1. Beautiful night in South Florida, and a beautiful night for Steve Gelb. The report tonight is brought to you by Jeep. Steve?
Well, Gary, at the end of that last half inning, you guys were talking about the continued development of Wilmer Flores, and one of the biggest areas that he's focused on over the years is trying to raise his on-base percentage, and he's done a good job with it last year, raising it by 24 points to .319. The key for Flores is that he recognized, with the help, of course, of Kevin Long and the coaching staff here, that he didn't just need to figure out only how to swing at strikes, but only how to swing at the right strikes. And for him, that is middle and middle in. That outside third of the plate is something that Flores has done a really good job pretty much eliminating until he has to start swinging with 2 strikes. And how he's gone about doing this is in BP, soft tosses, whatever. He will not swing at the pitch on the outside third of the plate, trying instead only to focus on the pitches that he can do damage with.
Syndergaard strikes out Gordon for the first out.
Well, it's all about the changes in the game today, and everybody wants the home run. There's only one reason to have Wilmer look for the ball middle in, and that's hit the long ball. So if that's your cup of tea, you have it with cream.
Well, it stands to reason that most hitters are more comfortable handling the ball on one side of the plate or the other, but can you completely ignore one side of the plate like that?
Well, like Steve said, with 2 strikes you got to go to hitting, right. So you can't forget about working on the outside corner. So I'm sure in their BP sessions that he's working on pulling, but then he has to have a couple rounds where he hits the ball away. You just can't forget about it. I mean, pretty soon the advanced scouts are going to say, hey, you got to pitch him away. What are you going to do if you get up against a pitcher and they pitch you 4 at-bats away? Take him until 2 strikes? So your success ratio is not going to be good. But it's all about the home run today, and that's all there is to it, whether you like it or not.
Well, there's nothing wrong with home runs.
Nothing wrong at all with home runs. They're very nice.
JT Realmuto goes after the slider, and it's 1-2. It's been an odd beginning to this game for Syndergaard. Has not been as dominant as we're accustomed to seeing.
Well, this is a pretty good hitting lineup too.
Gave up a run in the first inning, an unearned run. And Realmuto fouls off the fastball. Realmuto hit a grounder to short that had a chance to be a double play, but Cabrera made an errant throw that led to the Marlins run. Noah's 1-2, and it's hit sharply but foul.
Well, he's got that boring fastball that I used to call it, and where it bores in on the hands. I think it's a perfect. Is that an adjective? No, it's a. What would that be? Boring, not boring like putting you to sleep. It runs in on the hands. When you say run, okay, but when it's boring in on the hands, that means it's just heavy and it's overpowering. That was never good with, you know, picking sentences apart.
Parsing?
Parsing, yes. Didn't care for it.
Well, a boring fastball. Boring is the adjective.
Right. That was right.
Qualifying the fastball. Fastball just misses, and a full count to Realmuto. Well, it's what Noah has done. He's pretty much scrapped his four-seam fastball. He's throwing two varieties of two-seam fastballs now, all of which have better movement. He's still throwing 98 miles an hour. Grounded down to third, and Reyes handles the two-hopper. Guns down Realmuto, 2 out. So Noah still hasn't walked a batter. That was his second 3-ball count of the night. 15 2/3 innings, no walks, 18 strikeouts. Talk about your formulas for success. Here's Yelich, and he takes the changeup for ball 1. Yelich hit a sacrifice fly to drive in the first run of the game. Yelich's been a little off the last few games we've seen him. Just 2 for 15 the last 3 games he's played against the Mets.
Oh, there's a good slider. This is like zipping around the corner, and that's hard to lay off.
Drilled to center field, chasing Granderson back. He's got room, and he makes the catch to retire the side. Yelich hit that solidly, but to the big part of the ballpark. And Syndergaard has his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. 1-1 game after 3. Tied at 1. Edison Volquez has had quite the slog the last 2 innings. Mets loaded the bases in the second and the third, but scratched out only the 1 run. Jose Reyes walked in the second inning. And Volquez throws ball 1 again. Noah Syndergaard's batting 8th in the order. He's on deck. Then Rene Rivera in the 4th. Took Volquez 56 pitches to get through the second and third after a 6-pitch first inning. And here he is behind 2-0 again. It's been the story of his night so far. He's walked 4, struck out 2. And there's a strike to Reyes, 2-1. Say we'll probably get a start at shortstop on Sunday as Drupal Cabrera is scheduled to get a day off. That's popped in foul ground. And Dietrich has room.
And that's what Reyes throughout his career cannot do. He's just got to keep the ball out of the air.
Well, this afternoon the Pirates got strong pitching from Garrett Cole to win at Wrigley Field and beat the Cubs 4-2. Of course, the Cubs, talking about firsts, first World Series championship since 2008. Well, there's some of the other firsts from last year. Bartolo, 282 plate appearances before his first walk. Miguel Cabrera, multiple home run games in each of his 14 seasons. David Ortiz, now retired, home runs off 16 different Cy Young Award winners. Mike Trout, hits in each of his first 5 All-Star games, first to do that.
One of the best players on the planet. Cespedes right there with him on the same level.
Let's see, there was the Bryce Harper 6 walk-in hit by pitch game against the Cubs. That seemed to put him in a slump for the rest of the year. Zach Britton, who had a monumental year. Chris Bryant, the MVP, 3 home runs and 2 doubles in 1 game.
Wow. Home runs in the lower right.
That's a lot of pinch hit home runs. It's a first. 1-1 to Syndergaard, who walked his first time up. Let's see what else we got. It's in the rookie first, the former Met farmhand Michael Fulmer, who was the American League Rookie of the Year. 10-start stretch with an 0.95 ERA. That's a record. Corey Seager, the National League MVP, first rookie shortstop, did 3 home runs in a game. And the power-hitting shortstop in Colorado, Trevor Story, homered in each of his first 3 major league games. Volquez strikes out Syndergaard for the second out. 3rd strikeout for Volquez. So that was last year.
That was a long season. Took you forever to get that out.
So what firsts will we see this year? First Met catcher did a home run in the 16th inning or later.
That's true.
That was last night. Travis d'Arnaud. Tonight's catcher Rene Rivera bats with 2 out and nobody on. Flied out his first time up. By the way, here's a quirky one. 2 nights ago, Maikel Franco hit a grand slam for the Phillies and the Mets won the game. Last night, Marcell Ozuna hit a grand slam for the Marlins and the Mets won the game. Grounded toward the hole. Nice backhand by Rojas, and the long throw off the backboard. Can't handle it. Rivera went skidding by, and he's safe at first base. Nice effort by Rojas, but couldn't get the throw there on target, and Rene Rivera has the rare infield hit.
And do we have the same scorekeeper tonight as last night? Because this is a hit.
Yes, it is. We had several last night that were scored hits that were clearly errors. And caused Robert Gsellman a whole bunch of earned runs.
I have a feeling that Terry Collins is going to appeal that call, that scoring.
Well, the manager can do it, the player can do it, his agent can do it.
You don't want a player to do it. You don't want your agent to do it. I think have Terry do it, or have your pitching coach do it. Can the pitching coach do it? Can a coach, or has to be the manager?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, if it has to be the manager, it can be instigated by the pitching coach, because that was clearly an error.
Talking about the one in the first inning on T.J. Rivera. So anyway, I thought it was rather notable that the Mets won back-to-back games where they gave up grand slams. It turns out they're only the third team in history that's ever happened. See there, the '83 Brewers and the 2003 Rockies. Usually you hit a grand slam, it's a pretty good chance you're going to win the game. Not the last two nights. Anderson takes a strike. 1-2. Curtis walked and scored the Mets run in the third inning. And now they're waiting until 2 strikes to shift the infield. You notice this? They've been doing it with 1 strike, but now after both Bruce and Granderson have tried to bunt, now they're waiting until 2 strikes to open up that left side. And that's a high strike 3. Volquez got the call from DJ Rayburn, and that ends the inning. 4th strikeout for Volquez. 1-1 game in Miami. Tri-State Buick. Our first Pix 11 game of the year tomorrow night. Make sure you bring the right shirt.
I have it.
Back on SNY Sunday afternoon.
They made my nose way too broad. It's not that broad. Come on, guys.
Ronnie's in for the Phillies series apparently, and then you'll both be there for the Nats series according to our graphic. Hope that's right. Marcelo Zuna takes ball 1. Does somebody do intense research before they put your pictures in those little boxes?
I have no idea. I like it though. It's fun.
Are you off for the Phillies series?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just checking.
I tell you, Phillies tough team to watch.
Well, Ronnie and I watched them for 3 days.
I missed the first 6 with them.
I guess we'll be watching 3 more without you. We'll miss you.
I'll be around. I mean, actually, I'm going to stay down here in Florida. And I'll see you in the Washington series over the weekend.
First division collision.
We don't have that Sunday game because ESPN took it. Hogs.
2-1 to Ozuna. Well, it's the fact that the better your team is, the more games are going to be on national TV.
And every time I see it, you know, every week there's a Sunday night game. We were our generation of players. We were responsible for that. We had the vote on allowing Sunday night baseball, and of course, a lot of dollars from ESPN would go to the owners as well as to the players' pension.
Ozuna gets jammed, rolls one out to Reyes. The running toss in time, one away. 5 in a row retired by Syndergaard. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Now, I don't mean to put you on the spot. So you guys voted to allow Sunday Night Baseball. Now that you've watched the repercussions over the years with the later Sunday games and the travel that's involved, do you think that was a good decision?
Well, it's a double-edged sword here. I never liked it as a player because, you know, Sunday is a traditional day game where you can get out, you play a day game. I've always enjoyed day games. And you get to, if you're on the road, you get to the next city in time for dinner, or you get home in time for dinner. When a night game, you're doing another late night flight, getting into the next city or home at 3 in the morning. So it is what it is. There's give and take there.
So there's some value in it because the players' pensions were enhanced.
A lot of benefit, yes. You know, and but so I feel sort of responsible for Sunday night Sunday night baseball.
So you know what that means? That means that since you feel responsible, those Sunday nights, like this coming Sunday night, or a week from tomorrow,
yes,
when the Mets have the Sunday night game with the Nationals, you should be required to attend.
You think?
Well, you're responsible. Moore hits one out to left field, and Conforto circles under it. 2 out. Well, I mean, if you really felt bad about it, you know,
well, we all make.
You can show up just to lend your support.
We all make mistakes.
So 2 out now. Derek Dietrich comes up. You didn't know when you were casting that vote that it would give you a night off.
Well, there were some serious conversations during the winter meetings when that was an issue. And I do believe Marvin was around then, still was the head of the union, I believe, when that was decided upon.
Marvin Miller.
I don't think it was Don Fear at that point. I'm not sure.
Dietrich popped up his first time up. And the curveball had him befuddled, 1-1. Well, Noah has certainly mixed his pitches tonight. Seen a lot of change-ups, a lot of curveballs.
It has not been an overpowering night.
But a night when he knows he has to get deep into a game, and quick outs certainly are something he would relish tonight. And that curveball popped up into shallow center. Granderson coming on quickly and gets there to retire the side. So Syndergaard settling into a groove. He's retired 7 in a row. We're through 4 at Marlins Park. Mets in Miami still tied at 1. only 2 players to win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. One of them is in the ballpark tonight.
The other one, I think, was in 1975.
Yep. As Dribble Cabrera leads off in the 5th inning in a 1-1 game. And Cabrera fouls off the first pitch from Edison Volquez, who has had a star-crossed night. Somehow he's allowed just 1 run despite a firm lack of command. 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He's allowed just 3 hits. Cabrera, Bruce, and Duda 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Mets with Cespedes sitting tonight after playing 16 innings with the flu last night. Cespedes at one point said to Terry Collins during the extra innings, I know you're out of players, but I really need for this game to be over. That's pulled over the bag, and it comes up for Moore. Makes that an easier play, and that's the first down.
I think everybody felt that way last night. Everybody was tired.
Travis d'Arnaud said he had trouble getting down the dugout steps after the 10th inning, but that the home run that he hit enabled him to generate a little leg power to get around the bases. Travis will not only get tonight off, he'll get tomorrow off as well. Robert Zellman will be hoping for better things in his next start against the Phillies. Not have an easy time of it last night. Here's Jay Bruce, is 1 for 2, and he goes after a first pitch changeup, 0-1.
Well, you can see the third base side there. They are not vacating. That's Dietrich on the left of your screen on the infield. You still can put a bunt down and beat it out, but right now you don't want that. You just want Big J. He's hot. He's got, what, 4 home runs?
I think they're just trying to discourage the bunt. You know what I mean? It's not like they're defending the bunt. Just by putting somebody in that neighborhood, they discourage Bruce from trying. Now they're not even moving with 2 strikes, which they were before.
Well, it was the right time to do it with the team down early and the leadoff runner.
And Volquez strikes out Bruce on 3 pitches, went right back to the changeup for his 5th strikeout.
Volquez always wearing that bill of his cap like a frying pan. Very flat. No bend in it at all. Never liked that look.
Change up to Duda for a strike.
And there goes the shift again. They're moving Dietrich over to the right side of the infield.
Duda has singled and walked tonight. Just takes another off-speed pitch. So Volquez basically abandoned his fastball in this 5th inning.
Seems to have a better rhythm working right now this inning.
That breaking ball hit out to center field deep. Back goes Yelich to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here into the shrubbery. Lucas Duda gives the Mets the lead with his 4th home run of the year. Saw him hit one over the batter's eye to dead center in Philadelphia. This one might not have been quite as far, but it was still well struck straight away. And Duda puts the Mets in front 2-1.
407 back there, Gary, and it was 3/4 of the way up the shrubs. That's a bomb. On a breaking ball hanging up belt high. That's how powerful Lucas is. That's a bomb.
Yes, it is. Volquez throwing all curveballs and changeups in this inning, and he finally hung one, and Duda made him pay. And now Conforto takes a breaking ball down.
Well, there it is, right on it. This Met team continues to hit home runs. Here,
21 home runs now for the Mets.
Yeah, I'm not looking. No, just quick peek, but I know I hung it.
He's had that feeling enough times. He knows. There's a fastball, his first in ages. 2-1. The Mets hit 218 home runs last year. They now have 21 home runs in 11 games on an incredible early season pace. 4 home runs last night, and now Duda puts the Mets in front for the first time tonight. And the curveball to Conforto has him swinging over it. 2-2. Michael drove in the first Met run with a bases loaded sacrifice fly on a 3-0 pitch in the 3rd inning. Dustin McGowan, first man up in that Marlins bullpen. McGowan worked 2 innings last night. Seems everybody worked at least 2 innings. Volquez up to 90 pitches on the night, working in the 5th inning. And Conforto laces one into center for a base hit.
Nice.
Got on the fastball. Yelich had trouble picking it up, but Conforto will hold it first with a 2-out single.
Staying on top of that high fastball here and going right with the pitch. Outer half. Beautiful. Beautiful balance.
Don Mattingly on his way out to the mound. Looks like this may be all for Volquez. Dustin McGowan ready in the bullpen, and Mattingly takes the ball. So Volquez out after 4 2/3. Mets have taken the lead here in the 5th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. We'll be right back to Miami. Hofstetter and Sirius XM host Rob Brender talk about the comedic stylings of Terry Collins, Jay Bruce, and whether they would trade him now. And the rest of the week's offbeat moments on SNY.TV's newest podcast, Meet the Mets Cast. Check it out on Mets blog presented by Citi, featured on SNY.TV. 35-year-old Dustin McGowan, 2 innings last night and right back out there tonight.
7 years with Toronto, 1 year with Philly, last year with Miami. 2nd season with the Fish.
In to face Wilmer Flores, and Wilmer greets him with a fly ball to center field. Christian Yelich jogs in. And with 1 pitch, McGowan retires the side, but Lucas Duda has put the Mets in front. Lucas using the big part of the field and hitting it well beyond into the shrubbery for his 4th of the year. Halfway through in Miami, Mets lead it 2-1. Two strikeouts for Noah Syndergaard through the first 4 innings, but he has been efficient. Only 50 pitches on a night the Mets need him to get deep into the game with a depleted bullpen. They'll take on Ichiro Suzuki to lead off the 5th inning. Noah pitching with the lead for the first time. Ichiro flied out to center field on the first pitch he saw from Syndergaard in the 2nd. 3,031 major league hits, 25th on the all-time list. All told, 4,309 hits if you include his work in Japan. Ichiro hitting 7th in the order, and he is badly fooled on the changeup. He's not the first.
Back-to-back changes.
We go Rojas on deck, and then the pitcher spot for the Marlins here in the 5th. Noah's allowed just 2 singles tonight and an unearned run. Slap back to Syndergaard. Nice reach to get it. Wow. And Ichiro retired. That ball appeared headed for the middle. But Syndergaard able to stretch and retire Ichiro Suzuki.
Good reaction.
So 1 out and nobody on now. Miguel Rojas, who has one of the 2 hits, grounded a single through the hole into left in the 2nd inning. And he breaks his bat and pokes one into center field for another hit. So Rojas, who had 3 hits last night, breaks his bat and is 2 for 2 tonight.
Hanging slider up. Syndergaard's been a little erratic today, not on top of his game, but then still a good sign. Look, we're in the 5th inning, he's only giving up 1 run.
He kissed the bat, which gave him a hit, which is now a broken back. Tyler Moore will be the pinch hitter, batting for McGowan. Moore grounded out as a pinch hitter last night and takes a fastball for a strike. Haven't been any triple digits on Noah's ledger tonight. 98 has been where he's topped out, but he's mixed his pitch as well. Hasn't walked a batter, still hasn't walked anybody this season. Just 2 strikeouts.
They have not tested Syndergaard in this game. There hasn't been too many base runners.
Well, he hasn't given up a stolen base yet this year. And 2 thrown out in the game against the Marlins on Sunday night. Rojas edging away but not going, and it's hit hard. A base hit for Tyler Moore. So back-to-back hits from the 8 and 9 batters. Moore with a pinch hit single. And now the Marlins are first and second and 1 out.
Nice hitting. Fastball away, gets it in.
So now Miami with an opportunity to strike right back after Duda's home run gave the Mets the lead. D. Gordon coming to the plate. Gordon had a base hit to left field to open the first inning and scored the lone Miami run. Then he struck out on 3 pitches in the third. Jarlin Garcia just called up today from Double-A, getting ready to make his major league debut for Miami. Rojas at second, Moore at first with 1 out. And Gordon takes a slider in the dirt for ball 1. Through his first 2 starts, Syndergaard threw his slider 30% of the time. It's been a far smaller percentage of his repertoire tonight. Rojas takes off. Gordon lifts one to shallow right center, and that's going to drop for a base hit, and the tying run will score. Rojas comes in on the bloop single by D. Gordon, and it's 2-2.
Out in front. Let's go with one hand. A little bit up on the pitch. Away nicely. Big ballpark here. Good read by Rojas, wondering why the back runner. Moore didn't get the read. And on third base.
So now it's a 2-2 ball game. 2 on and 1 out. JT Realmuto the batter. 3 straight hits against Syndergaard. Realmuto is 0 for 2. And there's a slider for a strike.
Well, here's Moore. He's got the same look. And he just does not know where his outfielder is. He's looking at the ball. It's just improper.
To Realmuto with Christian Yelich on deck. Bounces that slider. 2-1. Syndergaard's been good but not great today.
You know, when you have a lot of movement on the fastball and you get away from that little four-seamer, the straight one you throw, it's a lot tougher on command when you have that kind of movement. Different movement on two different holds on your fastball grips.
Well, he's seen the ball come back over the plate a few times.
Yes. There's the fastball I like. Okay, you can have all the movement you want. I like that. As hard as he throws, I like that one. Get that thing four seam and just throw it upstairs. command it better. It depends on how your start's going. I think Syndergaard has not had his good stuff tonight. Not his normal good command.
Run is home here in the 5th. 2 on and 1 out. No one knows what's on his shoulders tonight. He knows how depleted the bullpen is after 16 innings last night, and that he needs to get deep into this game. And he's got to limit the damage right here in order to do that. If you fall behind at this point, it makes the task that much more difficult. And Terry has to manage the game differently. Moore at second, Gordon at first with 1 out. And that's low and away. Full count to Realmuto.
His slider has evaded him tonight. Do you send the runners here?
Boy, that's hard to do.
Yeah, I'll say, but you got a red hot hitter who makes contact too. I don't think they will.
Third 3-ball count of the night for Syndergaard. Not going. Tapper back to Noah. His only play is to first, and he gets the sure out there as the runners move to second and third.
Well, I think wisely here. Gave it a look. If he threw it right away, maybe, but play it safety first.
That's Gordon running.
Yep, he
did the right thing.
Safety first. Get the out. You got an open base.
So now Moore is at third with the go-ahead run. Gordon at second with 2 out. Yelich at the plate. Yelich delivered the first Marlins run with a sacrifice fly. Then he flied out in the third. So an enormous out for Syndergaard here to try and keep this game tied. And Yelich takes a fastball for a strike.
Taking all the way. That was a little spinner, Gary. A little backdoor slider that had a lot of plate. Didn't break much. That's why you call it a fastball. Hardly broke.
Didn't have any movement at all. You call that a cement mixer?
Call it. I'm glad he was taking that pitch.
That slider low and in. It's 1-1.
He's missing on that down and in, down and in to left-handers, and down and away to right-handers. He's missing with that. Missing in the dirt.
Better fortune with his changeup tonight. 1-1 to Yelich. Ozuna is on deck. Curveball. He held the swing, and it's 2-1.
Another breaking ball in the dirt.
Ozuna hitting cleanup tonight with Giancarlo Stanton getting the night off, and you can understand why Stanton would be sitting. He's never had a hit against Syndergaard, who has dominated him. Moore at third, Gordon at second, and 2 out. 2-2 game in the 5th. Yelich fouls off the curveball, and it's 2-2.
Another slider right there, a curve, and right down the pipe. And he just took something off of it and got Yelich out in front. It's a dangerous pitch. So 4 straight breaking balls, Gary.
Well, of his 3 starts, this has been the one where Syndergaard has had to fight his way through the most. Dominant on opening day against the Braves.
I mean, I got plenty of time for this, but Syndergaard's always a very honest and very intelligent post-game interview when he talks about his start. Very curious to see what he has to say about his performance tonight.
This will be the 20th pitch of the inning for Noah. 2-2 to Yelich. Struck him out. He went with the heat. His first 100-mile-an-hour fastball of the night, and it comes in a big spot to strand 2 in scoring position. No messing around here. Throw him the heat, Noah. 2-2 game after 5. To try and get tonight against Christian Yelich to win that 5th.
Little spinner. That was a pitch to hit. Had a lot of plate. Breaking ball. Down and in. Slider. 1-1. Here's a curveball in the dirt. 2-1. Here's not a very good breaking ball right there. A lot of plate. Fouled it off. And then go get him with the gas attack.
They put a little extra on that last one to blow away Yelich to keep the 2-2 game going to the 6th, and now the major league debut of 24-year-old Jarlin Garcia.
Dominican Republic. 6'3", hard thrower, slider, changeup.
First man to face him, Jose Reyes. And Reyes takes a fastball for a strike. Reyes has walked and fouled out to third, turns around about right-handed against Garcia, and all of a sudden the Marlins have a lefty in their bullpen. They had none, although Adam Conley, starting pitcher, wound up working in relief last night. And now Garcia called up with Nick Wittgren sent down after pitching 3 innings last night. Throws that fastball, and it's 2-1.
Looks like he kind of jerks his head right before he throws. Releases the ball, I should say.
He's been working in relief this year, but he's been a starter in the past in the Marlins system. And now he's behind on his first hitter, 3-1.
Take a look at, watch his head. He kind of jerks it right about the point of release. There it is, right there. He strains a lot. He puts a lot of effort into that pitch.
3-2. Noah Syndergaard is on deck, batting 8th in the order. Then Rene Rivera for the Mets in the 6th. Garcia, who grew up a soccer player. He was a little guy. He was what, 5'7" in high school, and finally started playing baseball when he was 15 years old. Started to grow and turned into a hard-throwing left-hander. 3-2 coming, and it's ball 4. So Reyes draws a walk, leading off against the newcomer.
Well, he's got a lot of jerk in his motion. Watch his head. Boy, oh boy, that's a lot of strain there. max effort with every pitch.
Well, we talked about Terry Collins and his rationale for hitting Syndergaard 8th tonight, and this is where it shows itself. With Reyes at first base and Syndergaard going to be asked to bunt, better chance of moving him up than moving up Rene Rivera. Instead, Rivera on deck, hoping to have a chance to drive the run in. Noah has walked and struck out tonight. Thinking stolen base. Reyes has yet to attempt one this year, and you've got a lefty on the mound who he's never seen before. So the bunt certainly makes sense.
This is a sacrifice situation right here.
Garcia gets the corner. Rivera batting 9th in the order. Each team with 2 runs and 5 hits. The Marlins led 1-0. Mets went up 2-1. Marlins tied it in the bottom of the 5th. And this is a pitcher who has not pitched above the AA level. Three games in AA this year before his recall. A little raw. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he's got to have nerves too. Major league debut.
Notice the Marlins have the All-Star logo on their sleeves and on the side of their caps.
Yes.
Seems a little excessive.
Yes.
Of course, the All-Star game will be here in Miami this year. There's the sleeve logo, and there's the hat logo on the right of the cap.
Of course, they're wearing the number 16 over their heart.
In honor of Jose Fernandez. So after a conversation with Glenn Sherlock, Syndergaard not showing bunt that time as Garcia continues to keep an eye on Reyes. And now no one needs another conversation with Glenn.
I don't understand this. He's giving signs and Noah's not even looking because he's already given them the verbal.
And now he's giving the signs to Reyes, and Reyes takes off. Noah bunts it at the mound. Garcia, he makes the throw. Reyes trying for third. The throw by Bohr, not in time. Reyes goes first to third on the sacrifice bunt. And the Mets have the go-ahead run at third with 1 out.
Well, it's great hustle by Jose. Speed kills, but it's poor defense by the Marlins here. And you got an inexperienced rookie pitcher here. There goes Reyes with a good jump. He's stumbled right there. And he took his time. Just not well done. We've got a young kid out there.
Marlins are trying to decide whether to challenge the play at third base, but it looked like Reyes kept his hand on the bag the entire way.
So Jose can still run, picks up the ball.
Don Mattingly is coming out. He wants to talk to the umpires before he decides whether to challenge. He has a question, I think, about something regarding the play before he makes his decision. And it looks like he will not challenge. So Donnie goes back to the dugout. And the Mets will have the go-ahead run at third with 1 out with Rene Rivera coming up.
Well, he certainly didn't get his foot off the bag here.
Well, the question was the hand. He got the left hand
in,
and then he replaced it, or the right hand, and then he replaced it with the left hand. So he was never off the bag.
It was really not a good bunt by Syndergaard. It was all about the young pitcher out there.
Well, if Syndergaard had not bunted, Reyes had the base stolen easily.
Correct.
He had an enormous jump. That was the sign that Sherlock gave him, I guess. Now the infield in for Rivera, and he hits it in the air down the right field line, slicing foul.
Garcia stumbled, and that's opened the gates for Jose. That ball was really bunted right back to him.
And then Garcia hesitated before making the throw, which gave Jose more of a head start to get to third. So it goes to sacrifice all the way, 1-3, and Reyes advances 2 bases. Now Rivera, who had an infield hit his last time up, trying to make contact to get the run in. And you'd have to figure Reyes is running on contact.
Yes, he is.
Infield ground.
Absolutely.
Curtis Granderson waiting on deck.
You could even put a squeeze on. I know that Rivera hasn't bunted much, but you've got to consider that if you're a defense out there, particularly the third baseman, Dietrich over there, cannot let Reyes get a big lead.
Staying fairly close to him. Rivera tries to hold the swing, but he went around on the changeup by Garcia, and now it's 1-2.
Yes, sir.
You got a young pitcher on the mound in a tight spot who desperately needs a strikeout. He's ahead on Rene Rivera, 1-2. Marlins Garcia puts the test in his major league debut. Reyes at third and 1 out. And Rivera goes down swinging on the breaking ball for the second out.
Completely fooled him on this breaking ball, Gary. Up in the strike zone on the outer half. He's way tardy. He didn't pick that one up at all.
So Garcia gets an enormous strikeout. And now Granderson will need a 2-out hit. Reyes dashing down the line trying to coax a balk. And Granderson takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. Reyes went about 35 feet down the line toward home plate, hoping that maybe Garcia would flinch. But Garcia wasn't biting. And Granderson takes a fastball for a strike. 1-1. Curtis tonight is 0 for 2 in a walk. He scored the Mets' first run.
3 for 13 in this young season against lefties.
And he foul tips it. 1-2. Well, Garcia walked his first batter. He's looking a little shaky. But he's come back to strike out Rivera using his off-speed stuff and got ahead of Granderson the same way. 1-2 coming. Little pop up. Dietrich retreats. Over comes Rojas, and Dietrich makes the grab to retire the side. Now the Mets got a runner to third with 1 out, but Marlins Garcia in his big league debut fights his way out of trouble. Keeps this game tied in the middle of the 6th. Reds now 6-4 on the year. Mets trying to go to 8-3, but they're in a 2-2 duel with the Marlins as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Marcell Ozuna leads off. Ozuna's been up twice, grounded out to third base both times. Justin Bour and Derek Dietrich to follow against Syndergaard after Jarlin Garcia fought his way out of trouble in the top of the inning. And a fastball strike, 1-1.
Nice debut, getting out of a jam. Daniel Murphy, they were afraid that Daniel only got 6 at bats, I believe, in the WBC. He didn't get enough at bats.
Yes,
444. He's hitting
450. Yeah, tough. Well, they teams keep walking Harper to get to Murphy. It's unbelievable that they do that anymore.
I would much rather pitch to Harper. He's got holes. Murphy's one of the best hitters in the game right now.
Kyle Barraclough up in the Marlins bullpen. Syndergaard with the 1-2, and it's bounced foul. Hasn't been a big strikeout night for Noah. He's only fanned 3, but he got the one he really needed to end the last inning, unleashing his hardest pitch of the night to strike out Christian Yelich to strand runners at second and third. Struck him out. Went to the changeup to Fan Ozuna for his 4th strikeout of the night. 1 out and nobody on. Justin Bour coming up. Let's check in with Steve.
Gary, you and Keith have spent a lot of tonight talking about Noah Syndergaard's fastball usage early this season, I should say, and how he's pretty much abandoned that 4-seam fastball. And it's definitely true. First 2 games of the season, Syndergaard threw 90 fastballs, and according to BrooksBaseball.net, 86 of them were the sinker variety of fastball. And the way Syndergaard views it, both his sinker and his 4-seamer average out at pretty much the same velocity now, about 98 miles per hour. And the way he thinks about it, he says, why not throw the one that moves a lot more times than not?
If you can stay on the corners with it and keep it down, yes.
Justin Bour goes after the changeup, 1-1. Well, last year he threw about the same number of 4-seamers and 2-seamers. 2-seamer or sinker, pretty much interchangeable terms. He's throwing his changeup a lot more this year, and certainly tonight he has. Bour lines one to right field for a base hit. So there's hit number 6 against Syndergaard tonight, a 1-out single.
There's another hanging slider right there, very low. Hell holds his hands very low, right about his waist. Very relaxed hitter. Lucky that ball didn't get some lift.
Yep. Well, the slider has not been Syndergaard's friend tonight.
No.
Normally a wipeout pitch, but not in this game. So there's 6 hits against Syndergaard, most he's given up in a game so far this year. And now Derek Dietrich, who's popped up and flied out 0 for 2. Or a slow runner at first with 1 out. And Dietrich takes a fastball for a strike. Dietrich came into the night with the best numbers among the Marlins against Noah. Now 5 for 12 in his career. That's up high, 99-mile-an-hour fastball. So he's thrown a couple of 4-seamers, one to Yelich and that last one to Dietrich. Terry Collins how deep he would go with Syndergaard in this game, and he said 105 to 110.
I said 110 after he said 105, 110.
So you'll take full responsibility for those extra 5 pitches?
Give me 110. After last night, what that bullpen went through, give me 110.
Well, it looked for a while as though 105, 110 might get Noah very deep into this game, but then he ran into trouble in the 5th inning, and that started to elevate his pitch count a little bit. Still in a reasonable location at 81 with 1 out in the 6th. But he could sure use a double play ball right here. And the curveball in for a strike to Dietrich, 2-2.
Well, Bohr here getting on top of a high ball. That was a double down the left field line, and he got on top of that. Here's the base hit today. And just handling that high and low pitch. Just going to be nope.
Slowly hit. Flores going to have to go to first with it. They get Dietrich for the 2nd out as Bohr moves up.
Well, one thing's for certain, on a low ball you really can't stay level. I mean, you've got to get down here and get down the low ball this way, so you're more of almost a semi-golf swing. But the ball from the waist up, you can stay shoulders level to the ground, which Bohr did. That first shot we showed of Bohr, the double down the left field line, he had a slight tilt, but when you tilt your hand, I've always said, you drop your shoulder, you're not going to, your bat's going to go with the angle, and the ball's going to go right over your bat. You stay level like this, you're going to rip it.
Thank you, Professor. Science of Baseball brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. More science, less fear. You ever think of teaching a graduate level course?
No. I like to watch. I kind of enjoy it up here to watch all the various major league hitters.
I'm glad you clarified that. Ichiro takes low and away, 2-0.
I was very much aware of that. That's why I did clarify it.
Ichiro's 0 for 2 tonight. He's flied out and hit a comebacker. Go ahead run at 2nd with 2 out. Noah behind 2-0. And Ichiro takes low and in, 3-0. So Noah throwing a 2-0 slider there to Suzuki. You got first base open and Miguel Rojas on deck. And the Mets are going to continue to pitch to Ichiro. Remember, Noah has not walked a batter yet this year, but he's behind here 3-0. And Ichiro swinging 3-0, hits a deep one to right center. Granderson racing back on the warning track. He runs it down. A long run for Curtis Granderson as Ichiro swung away 3-0 and hit a long one. But Granderson equal to the task, and it gets Syndergaard through trouble in the bottom of the 6th. Granderson playing shallow and toward left center against Ichiro, and he ran a country mile to get there. And Noah needed every yard of that from the 36-year-old legs of Curtis Granderson. After Curtis Granderson ran down this long fly ball.
Look at Curtis here. Get on his horse, Gary. Sorry to jump on you there, but he ran a long way. You got to be on your toes. Curtis knew right off the get-go that this ball had a lot of hang time and was hit to the right center field part of the outfield. So you don't have to track the ball. You've got to get on your horse and get close. And just really, you know, once you run it down, you're a big league player. As Barraclaw is the pitcher there, you're going to make the catch. That he, like Gary said it, he ran a country mile for that ball.
So that kept it a tie game. As Dribble Cabrera, the batter, and he grounds one to the right side. D. Gordon's got it, and that's the first out. Now, we had certainly been hoping, along with Terry Collins, that Noah Syndergaard could get deeper into this game, but it appears that Syndergaard is coming out after 6 innings. And Rafael Montero is up in the Mets bullpen. Syndergaard is at 87 pitches, but it appeared in the dugout between innings as though Syndergaard was looking at his hand again. Remember, he had a blister issue that took him out of his first start of the year after 6 innings.
Well, those blisters, they can come back and be nagging.
So it does appear for the second time in 3 starts that Noah will have his outing shortened. 1-1 to Bruce.
Oh, there you go. I think that is probably the only reason.
That's that middle finger. That was the same one that presented the issue on opening day. Grounded toward the hole, but Gordon able to flag it down. Stumbles, but makes the play on Bruce. His foot slipped as he tried to get some traction on that outfield grass, but Gordon able to recover for the second out.
You know, when you play out in that shallow grass, you got to worry about the lip of the cut of the infield and where the grass begins in the outfield. If it hits that lip, the ball could come up. Nice play by Gordon. He's just a fine fielder. That's another fine play he's made in this ball game. That's 2.
Well, now Lucas Duda, who hit an enormous home run to center field in the 5th inning that briefly get the Mets a lead. His 4th home run of the season. And Barraclaw misses with a breaking ball for ball 1. So the Mets very short in the bullpen. No Addison Reed tonight. No Josh Smoker tonight. No Hansel Robles tonight. So it looks like Montero is going to get the 7th inning. If the Mets need a closer tonight, it would probably be Fernando Salas. They do have Jerry Blevins available, but this is going to be a very interesting mix and match for Terry to try and get through the last 3 innings of this game, or perhaps beyond. He's got Josh Edgin available as well, and Sean Gilmartin, who was called up today. 2-1 to Duda. The Mets were going to be happy anyway to welcome Jeurys Familia back next week.
Oh, I would think.
Now even more so.
Even if their bullpen wasn't taxed,
right,
they would welcome him back with his 50+ saves.
Too high for Barraclaw, and now it's 3-1 to Duda with Michael Conforto on deck. So Duda, who has been using the middle of the field tonight on a base hit to center field, at the long home run into the shrubbery well beyond the 407 mark. Second bomb to center field on this road trip. And that's outside. Duda's on with a 2-out walk. So Lucas reaches base for the 4th straight time. Conforto coming up. Let's check in with Janae Coakley in the studio for another game break brought to you by the New York State Department of Health. Garrett Cole gets his first win of the year for the Pirates, who have been struggling to snap a 4-game losing streak. Here's Michael Conforto, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Michael delivered a sac fly to drive in the first Met run, then he singled to center his last time up, 1 for 2 on the night. The Mets 2 runs 5 hits, the Marlins 2 runs 6 hits. Lucas may need a new pair of pants tomorrow. Kevin Kearse keeps an inadequate supply.
There's more than enough. Trust me.
Barraclough worked the 7th inning last night. Got saved on that overturned call on the play at the plate when Cespedes was tagged down. Conforto lifts one foul. Last night the Marlins used 9 pitchers. The Mets used 8. Every reliever on both teams was used except for A.J. Ramos, the Miami closer. Barraclough throwing more breaking balls than we're accustomed to seeing.
He did last night too, and it is a bit surprising because he's a very hard thrower.
Flores would be next. Conforto working from behind in the count after the 2-out walk to Duda. Conforto playing left field tonight with Cespedes getting the night off after suffering with the flu through 16 innings last night. Well, that's a rarity. Duda's not used to them throwing to first base when he's standing there.
Why even bother?
It's not like he's had to perfect his evasive maneuvers getting back to the bag. Barraclough's 0-2 and Conforto goes down on strikes. Realmuto will have to toss it to first, and Moore remembers to cover, and that retires the side. A walk and 1 left. 7th inning stretch time. Mets are going to the bullpen. Tied at 2. Banking in your best interest. So, you know, teams are adding new food items all the time in the ballpark. In Seattle at Safeco Field, they added the toasted grasshoppers this year, and it's proved to be such a popular item, they've had to limit the number of grasshoppers that they sell each game. One game earlier this week, they had over 900 orders for the toasted grasshoppers. They're now limiting it to 312 orders each game. Why 312? because that was Edgar Martinez's lifetime batting average.
And we're going to Seattle.
I cannot wait to try the toasted grasshoppers. You?
I'm going to pass.
If I get an order, will you try one?
The only grasshopper I liked was the grasshopper in Kung Fu.
Keith Carradine, right?
Yes, not Keith.
David Carradine.
David.
Rafael Montero will get the bottom of the 7th. Montero worked an inning and a third last night, allowed no runs and 3 hits. Miguel Rojas leads off, and Giancarlo Stanton's come out on deck to pinch hit. Rojas is 2 for 2 tonight. Single to left, single to center. He scored the second Miami run. We'll get an official report on Noah Syndergaard, but it certainly appeared as though his blister cropped up again, shortening his outing and changing Terry Collins' game plan for his bullpen tonight.
That was not what Terry needed tonight, or the Metsies.
6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, no walks, 4 strikeouts. He still hasn't walked a batter through 3 starts. 20 strikeouts in 19 innings.
Oh boy!
Right off the fists of Rojas, but it goes foul.
Jeez, we've seen him do this last night.
He's had a couple in this series where he would have gotten hit by the pitch if he didn't swing.
Serious inside out right there. Aha!
Stanton on deck to pinch hit. Out of the lineup tonight in deference to his struggles against Syndergaard. And he had a frustrating night last night as well. A couple of balls he thought he should have covered that he did not. And Rojas floats one to shallow center. That's going to fall for his 3rd hit of the night. So Rojas, who had 3 hits last night, 3 for 3 tonight. And the go-ahead run is aboard.
Here's the big guy.
Giancarlo was 1 for 6 last night. Drove on a run with a sacrifice fly. Struck out a couple of times. Hit a sacrifice fly that he thought he should have hit out of the ballpark. But getting a night of rest tonight, and now up there to bat as a pinch hitter. Unlike a lot of everyday players, he hasn't had much success as a pinch hitter. 2 for 22 with 14 strikeouts. Jerry Blevins up in the bullpen. D. Gordon, left-hand hitter, on deck, and then Christian Yelich, 2 batters behind him. So this might be the last batter for Montero. Rojas at first and nobody out. And Stanton with a check swing foul ball. It's a good way for Montero to start off. Two home runs this year. 210 for his career. 27 of them against the Mets. And Montero out in front, 0-2.
I like what I'm seeing from Montero. It was a bloop hit by Rojas right after Stanton with 2 fastballs.
Now the 0-2. Just missed. One-two from Montero, and the slider outside. 2-2. Montero threw 33 pitches last night. And a half swing. He went around, strike 3. Stanton down on strikes as a pinch hitter, 1 man down.
Well, Stanton is a big power hitter and a guy that you got to be very careful to, but you can pitch to him. And this first pitch sets it up, I think. Up and in. Tied him up. Get him thinking inside. Beautiful fastball away. Just misses with a fastball away. Slider. See if he'd fish and come right back with it. And he fishes. Well done.
So that probably keeps Montero in the game to face D. Gordon with Blevins getting ready in the bullpen. He's now stopped. Gordon is 2 for 3 tonight. A bloop single to drive in the tying run in the 5th inning against Syndergaard. The only earned run that Noah allowed tonight. Reyes has to play in on the edge of the grass always against Gordon and his bunt threat. Gordon looking down to Freddie Gonzalez to see if anything's on. Rojas at first, carrying the go-ahead run. Off the plate, ball 1. Tonight's starting pitchers brought to you by People's United Bank. Edison Volquez was gone after 4 2/3. Very erratic. Walked 4. Fortunate to give up only 2 runs. Syndergaard didn't have his best stuff, and he leaves because of an apparent blister again after 6 innings and 87 pitches. So now 2 teams that are short in the bullpen are well into the bullpen. That's drilled into center field. Gordon's got his 3rd hit of the night. Rojas will go 1st to 3rd. And the Marlins have the go-ahead run at 3rd with 1 out.
Well, D. Gordon is a hitter. Kind of brought his hands in at the last minute to get the barrel there. And that sets up 1st and 3rd. Rojas never hesitates. It's a little hesitation if it's a line drive. Easily goes 1st to 3rd.
So Gordon with a 3-hit game. Now you got Real Muto at the plate. Not an easy man to double up. Very fast for a catcher. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Plus you got Gordon at first, who's a threat to try and steal the base to take the double play out of order. So Montero has all that on his mind as he approaches Real Muto and he checks in on Gordon. Gordon 2 years ago won the stolen base championship in the National League. He's got 2 so far this year.
I don't think Gordon's going to attempt to steal. They want the Real Muto to hit.
Got Yelich standing on deck. Blevins was throwing, but he has, well, he's still out there. Not throwing, but ready to go. So you have to figure he'll be in to face Yelich. 1st and 3rd and 1 out. There goes Gordon. Pitch is high. The throw by Rivera, not in time. And now the double play taken out of order. And the Marlins have 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. 3rd stolen base of the year for Gordon.
Well, so much for my observation. Nice stolen base there. 2nd and 3rd to throw through. Too good a jump. Montero paid him a lot of attention. It's a good jump. Montero's a little slow home.
Now, how do you play it if you're Terry Collins? 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. You got Yelich on deck with Blevins ready in the bullpen.
You bring it in and you go after Real Muto here. I don't want to load the bases up for Yelich, even with Blevins out there.
So the infield has come in, and Real Muto takes a strike. That's the problem with bringing the infield in now in this spot. Base hit, breaks home 2 runs. Rojas at 3rd, Gordon at 2nd. Montero with a mess on his hands. 1-1 to Real Muto. And he went up and away, 1-2. Well, Montero badly needing a strikeout, and now he's ahead in the count.
Chased a high one there. Real Muto seems to have a little tapered off of his red hot streak in the beginning of the year.
0 for 4 in this series. Well, he struck out Stanton with a slider low and away. See if he goes to the same spot to try and get Real Muto. Went away with a fastball at 96. It's about as hard as we've seen Montero throw. 2-2. The infield up all the way around. 2-2 from Montero. And he sailed that up and away, and now it's a full count.
He overthrew that one. I think what hurt Montero a lot, Gary, is that he doesn't pitch inside enough. He likes to pitch on the outside corner. Doesn't keep the hitters honest enough in.
And now the Mets are going to give intentional ball 4 to Realmuto. So on 3-2, the Mets decide not to mess around. They load the bases to bring up Yelich, and Terry Collins will bring Jerry Blevins into the game. So it goes in the books as an intentional walk. And Blevins, who got out of a bases loaded mess last night, will inherit another one. 2-2 game in the 7th. We'll be right back. Inning, he walked a batter to load the bases, but then got Miguel Rojas to pop up, and then came back and struck out Ichiro Suzuki with a curveball to get the Mets through the inning. Now he inherits a bases loaded situation and has to face the number 3 hitter Christian Yelich, who's 3 for 10 in his career against Blevins. And before he even throws a pitch, Blevins needs a conversation with Rene Rivera. Rojas at third, Gordon at second, Realmuto at first. They all run well. Marlins led this game 1-0, trailed 2-1, tied it in the 5th, and now trying to regain the lead in the 7th as Josh Edgen stays busy in the Mets bullpen. Blevins having trouble getting on the same page with Rivera, even after their conversation.
Well, I think Blevins is going to attack him with a fastball first pitch. We'll see.
Now he's ready to work, and the fastball in for a strike. Call. He's become much more of a fastball pitcher the last 2 years.
Yes, he has. And you're in a situation like this, you don't want to go 0-1. You get a fastball, you're on it.
Marcelo Zuna on deck. And the curveball off the plate. 1-1. Blevins has inherited 7 runners this year and so far has stranded them all. Last year stranded 47 of 55. He's been a master at coming in with men on base and putting out the fire. And Yelich fouls off the curveball, and now Blevins ahead 1-2.
Boy, there's a hanger right there to hit on a tee. Sometimes it just seems to me that Yelich is just too relaxed up at the plate. This is a situation where you got to be a little more set, ready to hit. Sacrifice fly is all that's needed.
Two singles and a walk against Montero loaded the bases. Now Blevins ahead 1-2. 2-2.
Comes up and in here with a fastball, Gary. It's going to be the ditto of the previous at bat when Syndergaard struck him out.
Two. Fastball lined the other way. In comes Conforto, makes the catch. Here comes Rojas. Here comes the throw by Conforto. He's out! What a throw on the fly! Michael Conforto with a perfect strike to Rene Rivera. Rojas is tagged out at the plate. Inning over.
There may be a challenge. Don't go away. Let's take a look. Did he get his hand in before the tag?
Marlins are challenging the call. Rivera got the tag down on that left hand. The question is, did the hand hit the plate before the glove hit the hand? But what a strike by Conforto.
I'll say.
Well, he didn't get the hand, he got the side. And did the hand hit the plate, or did the hand go to the side of the plate?
I think the hand hit the plate. It's just going to be whether the tag was beat him. This is just a perfect throw.
Well, the tag went on the side. I couldn't tell if the left hand of Rojas hit the plate or not, or whether it went around it.
Now there's a case where a catcher can block the plate. You'd have a collision here.
No, he didn't block the plate.
That's right.
Had the ball.
He's out. He's out. I think he got him on the forearm.
Did he get the arm? If he got the arm, he's
right there. He's out.
Or did he not get him till he hit the side? That's going to be the question. If he got the arm, then Rojas is out. If he missed the arm and tagged him on the side, then Rojas got the hand in. And that's what the replay officials have to figure out. Jerry Davis's crew and Tom Hallion's crew are in Chelsea examining this.
Here's the play right here.
Tag him right there
on the screen. If he did on the arm.
If he got the arm, he's out. Let's see.
That's a tough one to overturn. Oh,
he might have missed the arm, Keith.
He might have missed the arm.
And they've confirmed the out. Side retired. So the Mets had a replay review go against them on a play at the plate last night. This one goes in their favor. Michael Conforto with a brilliant throw from left field to keep the Marlins off the board. Wow. Yelich hit the ball hard. Conforto got himself in position. Blevins celebrates the double play. And the Marlins do not score in the 7th. Still tied at 2.
What a throw.
Marlins from scoring in the bottom of the 7th. Sometimes the call on the field matters so much in these replay reviews. In this case, the call was out at the plate. We tried to give you as good an angle as possible. It did not appear as though Rivera's glove hit the arm of Miguel Rojas before Rojas's hand hit the plate. Nonetheless, not enough evidence to overturn the call on the field. And so the out stands.
Well, just a terrific throw by Conforto. I mean, he got this momentum going forward on the line drive and threw a seed. He had to throw a perfect strike to home plate, and he did.
Rojas with pretty good speed, but the ball got to Rivera in time, and the out call was made. Now David Phelps pitching the 8th inning. That's got to Phelps last night. Michael Conforto tied the game against him with an RBI double. Each of the last 2 games, the Marlins have taken a lead into the 8th and given up that lead against the Braves on Wednesday and against the Mets last night. Flores hits one out to center field, and Yelich has plenty of room. 1 out.
Different angle for you on Conforto. Momentum coming forward. Perfect strike. 5 feet to the left or right. Rojas is safe.
DJ Rayburn with the out call. Jerry Davis and Tom Hallion in Chelsea confirming the out call. And Conforto contributes in another way. It's been one of the shocking pieces since Michael came up 2 years ago, how good his defense has been.
Well, he's an athlete. He can play the outfield. He's shown he can play center field.
But he came up with a reputation of not being a great defensive outfielder, and he's shown just the opposite. Reyes has walked twice today. He lines that one, base hit into right center. Reyes takes a turn and holds on there as Ichiro gets it in. So Reyes, after a day off yesterday, had a pinch hit, and now has been on base 3 times today. And now Yoenis Cespedes is coming out to pinch hit.
Well, get Jose going here. It'll be a good thing for the Mets. He's the last one to join the hit parade here. Just a matter of time. He's been in this game too long.
So now Cespedes, who has hit 5 home runs in the last 3 days, getting the night off tonight after playing with the flu for 16 innings last night. Didn't seem to hurt him very much. He hit 2 home runs, and, well, you know,
just another day at the park.
One of the best players in the game,
no doubt.
Go ahead run at first and 1 out. Boy, Phelps has struggled in so many of these games against the Mets.
The Mets have his number here.
Cespedes, though, is just 2 for 14 against David Phelps. And it's 2 for 14 with a home run as a pinch hitter in his career. Remember the home run he hit 2 years ago? He was hurt, came up, saw 1 pitch at another ballpark.
I do.
It was during that remarkable stretch that he went on where he hit 15 home runs in a 24-game span. Base hit by Reyes was the first for the Mets since the 5th inning and just their 6th of the night. 1 on and 1 out, and Cespedes takes a letter high strike, and quickly 0-2. Phelps the 5th Marlins pitcher in this game after Edinson Volquez lasted just 4 2/3. McGowan, Garcia, Barraclough, and now Phelps. Cespedes batting for the pitcher with Rene Rivera batting 9th in the order on deck. 0-2.
Oh,
got him looking. That cutter came back over the plate, and Cespedes is punched out for the 2nd out.
Oh, pretty good pitching right there. Cespedes took the first strike. I think he was looking for a cutter On the second strike, he got a fastball up and away that he took for strike 2, and then the front door slider right there, pitcher's pitch.
So like Stanton before him, Cespedes strikes out as a pinch hitter. Your G pitch cast. There's that last cutter by Phelps.
Yep.
It's a nice pitch. So now it's left to Rene Rivera, who's 1 for 3 tonight. And if you're thinking about the possibility of batting for Rivera, Terry's not going to do it. He's not going to play d'Arnaud tonight.
It's a good time right now. Well, d'Arnaud caught 16.
Right.
Good time for Reyes maybe try to sneak one.
Reyes was running in the 6th inning with Syndergaard at the plate and wound up going first to third on a sacrifice bunt. But then Rivera struck out and Reyes wound up being stranded. Phelps with the same thought and chases Reyes back. Jose has yet to steal a base or have an official attempt this year. 488 in his career. And the breaking ball in for a strike. 1-1 to Rivera, who didn't like the call by DJ Rayburn. He did, however, like DJ's call on the play at the plate.
Yes, he did. By the way, Rivera played that beautifully. He did not block the plate. He had his back foot in front of the plate when he retrieved the throw.
1-2 now to Rene. Phelps is working the 8th. You know, no matter what happens, they're going to pitch Ramos in the 9th. He's the only rested guy in that Marlins bullpen. Tom Mattingly just going an inning at a time with his relievers, all of whom pitched in last night's game. 1-2. And Rene lines a base hit. Reyes pulls in at second. So Rene Rivera with his second hit of the night. And the Mets have the go-ahead run in scoring position with Curtis Granderson coming up.
Hanger. When Phelps does this, it's just, it doesn't break enough. You cannot leave that pitch over the middle.
So Phelps gave up 2 hits and a run in the 8th inning last night. He's given up 2 hits in the 8th inning tonight. We're on Pix 11 tomorrow night, back on SNY for the final game of the series. That's Matt Harvey's start on Sunday afternoon. 12:30 the coverage. Sunday, Easter Sunday, right here on SNY. Now Granderson is 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. Reyes carrying the go-ahead run at second. Rivera at first with 2 down. And Curtis takes the cutter inside for ball 1. See his numbers against Phelps, just 3 of 15. Phelps struck him out of the game last night.
Well, Phelps' stuff, his breaking stuff, is just too flat. Stays on the same plane.
Pickoff try, and Reyes just got the hand back in. If Rojas had been a little closer to the bag when Phelps delivered that ball, they might have gotten him.
They may have. He was late coming. You're right.
He caught that ball several feet behind the bag and then had to lunge for Jose. Otherwise, he would have gotten him. Rojas playing awfully close to the bag because of the shift, so Reyes can't get too far away. 1-0 to Granderson. And he rockets one to right field. Back goes Ichiro, but he's there to make the grab. Side retired. Granderson hit it hard, but Phelps able to wiggle out of trouble in the top of the 8th. Still tied at 2. Tied at 2. We've had 2 close plays at the plate the last 2 nights, both challenged. And interesting watching the umpire's positioning. This was last night.
There's Angel Hernandez coming over. You don't like to see him on the run there. You want to see him set the position.
But he couldn't. He had to move because he would have gotten run over by Cespedes.
And I have no issue because he's right on top of the plate. If he stays back behind home plate, which would give him an angle on the tag, if the ball gets by the catcher, it's going to hit him.
Yeah, the problem for DJ Rayburn there is that the runner winds up being between him and the tag, so it's hard to see. Josh Edgin in to pitch the bottom of the 8th. Edgin had a very rough go of it last night. Faced 3 batters, double, intentional walk, single. And now comes into a tie game in the 8th with the Mets bullpen very short-handed. 1-1 to Marcell Ozuna, who's 0 for 3 tonight.
These are hard-fought games here.
Again, the Mets do not have Reed, Smoker, or Robles available. That's drilled and off the glove of Cabrera and into left field. There's a rocket off the bat of Ozuna. Cabrera got the glove up and just tipped it. But no chance to stop it, and Ozuna has a base hit to start the bottom of the 8th.
Boy, this is a rocket.
So the Marlins, who loaded the bases with 1 out of the 7th, but were turned aside, get the leadoff man on in the 8th. And now Justin Bour, who had an opposite field double against Edgin last night to drive in a run. So Edgin has faced 4 batters in this series, giving up 3 hits and an intentional walk. And Bour hits a double play ball right to Cabrera. 6-6-3, 2 out and nobody on. Edgin could not have asked for more. Bour first pitch swinging, double play, 2 men down.
Playing Bour for the pull. He doesn't try to pull. Right up the middle, right at Cabrera, piece of cake. Boy, Bour has really been struggling. The Mets have had his number.
He's now just 5 for 35 to start the season. Here's Derek Dietrich, who's 0 for 3 tonight. And the Breaking ball from Edgin, misses, ball 1. Noah Syndergaard went 6, allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on 6 hits, but had to leave after 87 pitches, apparently because of a recurrence of a blister on his pitching hand. Rafael Montero gave up 2 hits and a walk in the 7th, but Jerry Blevins came in and got that line drive double play on the great throw by Conforto to keep the Marlins from scoring. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Only 2 players to win Rookie of the Year and MVP, Fred Lynn and Ichiro Suzuki.
1975 Boston Red Sox out of Southern California, Freddie Lynn.
And Ichiro in 2001 with the Mariners. And there's Ichiro at age 43 standing on deck. One to Dietrich, and he fouls it back. So Edgin now up in the count, 1-2. It's now 4 left-handers in their bullpen.
Yes, they do.
With Sean Gilmartin promoted today. Gilmartin was brought here today with the express idea that if the Mets had an extra inning game, he'd be the guy to pitch the extra innings, because he was scheduled to start tonight for Las Vegas. And the slider hits Dietrich, who is a specialist at getting hit by pitches.
That's all he does. Didn't
do a lot to try and get out of the way, and I think that's what Rene Rivera and Josh Edgin are arguing.
Yep.
The question also then is whether it hit the bat, and Terry Collins wants to review that. You cannot review whether he tried to get out of the way, and you can't review a foul ball, but you can review whether the ball hit him.
It did hit him.
Yeah, got him on the elbow pad.
Just
led the league with 24 last year.
He's got that armor on his elbow, and he's just leaning.
It's a big part of Dietrich's game. See, it clearly did hit him. So a 2-out base runner. Now here's Ichiro, who's gone 0 for 3. Ichiro made a bid for a big hit in the 6th inning. Came up with a runner at second and 2 out. Worked a 3-0 count against Syndergaard and took a big hack and hit one deep to right center. And Granderson made a terrific play to run it down. And Edgin works him inside again, and Rivera will run it back out. There's nobody up in the Mets bullpen. They just don't have anybody else available other than Fernando Salas, who they're saving for the 9th, and Sean Gilmartin, who presumably would be their innings guy if this game goes past the 9th.
Just telling Edgin, don't overthrow.
Going up at Geico Sports Night after the post game, Phil Jackson's post-mortem. Rangers played game 2 with the Canadians tonight. Lots of fights. Geico Sports Night tonight after the post game. Edgin behind 2-0, and Ichiro leans away, and again it's 3-0. Well, he was swinging last time on 3-0.
Left-hander. He's a veteran.
Got Rojas on deck, who's 3 for 3.
You could give him the hit sign.
And he takes the fastball for a strike. Edgin's not throwing very hard. Velocity's been an issue for him ever since his Tommy John surgery. And there's a strike. 3-2. So that'll put Dietrich on the move. Duda will play behind him at first base. 3-2 from Edgin to Ichiro. And a check swing foul. I mean, when Josh Edgin first came up, he was throwing 95 with a nasty slider. Now he's throwing 88 to 90. Again, the 3-2.
Tied him up inside.
Josh has lowered his arm angle a little bit to try and provide a little better edge against the left-hand hitters. Going with one of the best left-hand hitters of all time here. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat to Ichiro. Struck him out. Got him with a slider. Josh Edgin strikes out Ichiro Suzuki to get the Mets through the bottom of the 8th. Mets patchwork bullpen getting the job done. On to the 9th we go. Mets and Marlins tied at 2.
Let our players run the clubhouse as best they could because of the leadership we have in that clubhouse.
We've seen additional players step up and provide some leadership.
There's different types of leaders. For me, I think it's kind of a leader by example.
Mets Insider presented by W.B. Mason, Sunday at 4:30, only on SNY. Changes for the Marlins. J.T. Riddle comes in to play shortstop. He'll bat 9th. Miguel Rojas moves to 3rd base, and A.J. Ramos will pitch the 9th inning.
He's their closer, and the Mets have always been tough on him.
First pitch curveball to Asdrubal Cabrera, and he fouls it off. Well, Asdrubal was hitless in his first 7 at-bats last night and got a hit his 8th time up. He's hitless in his first 4 at-bats tonight. He has an 8-game hitting streak on the line. Hopefully it won't take him till the 16th inning to get his hit tonight. We might all be asleep by then. Jay Bruce on deck, and a good fastball by Ramos. 0-2. Well, Ramos is the rare closer who will throw 4 pitches. He's a kitchen sink kind of guy.
But he throws hard. He got a good arm.
Slider to Cabrera, 1-2. Ramos now 30 years old. Saved 40 games for the Marlins last year. His first All-Star season. Making his 5th appearance of this year. Took a loss his last time out Wednesday night against the Braves. Fly ball left field. Ozuna took a bad route, but he gets there. He was able to correct after taking a stride in the wrong direction. 1 out and nobody on. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason post-game live. Gary Apple, Nelson Figueroa, what you got? At some point, yes, perhaps before midnight tonight. Here's Jay Bruce with 1 out. Interesting, no overshift this time on the Marlins infield against Jay Bruce.
pitch him away, maybe play him away.
Well, he's been hitting the ball to left field or the left of second base the entire series.
Well, he's forced them to make an adjustment in their defense because they're playing a serious pull on the right side with Gordon out in shallow right field and the first baseman guarding the line. But look at the left side. They got 2 fielders over on that side. They don't want to throw in. You want to keep the ball away. One swing and the Mets are in front. You got a big power hitter up here.
Well, where the shortstop Riddle's playing, that's exactly where Bruce had his base hit in the 3rd inning tonight. 2-0 breaking ball, and Ramos had him full 2-1. Bruce has never had a hit against A.J. Ramos, 0 for 6. Well, there's Fernando Salas, who will be called upon to try and save it if the Mets can get a lead. And that skips in a slider from Ramos, and now it's 3-1. Lucas Duda, who has a long home run tonight, waiting on deck. As we're down 1-0, up 2-1 after Duda's home run. Miami tied it in the 5th, and it has stayed tied into the 9th. Ramos, the 6th Miami pitcher of the night. 3-1 coming, and the breaking ball outside, ball 4, and Bruce draws a 1-out walk. So Jay on base for the 2nd time tonight. Here's your StubHub Mets box score. Duda's been on base 4 times in a row. 2 hits, including a home run, couple of walks. Conforto with a sacrifice fly to drive in the other run.
Mets have left 11 men on base in this game. 8 by the Marlins.
Mets have drawn 7 walks tonight, including Duda twice. Duda's been on base all 4 times. He bats here with Bruce at first and 1 out. And Duda, like Bruce, has never had a hit against A.J. Ramos. He's 0 for 9 against him. And they do stack 3 infielders on the right side against Lucas.
I'd say he's overdue.
Duda takes a fastball strike. 1-1. Marlins have gotten 3 2/3 scoreless innings out of their bullpen after Edinson Volquez left in the 5th inning. And the curveball in for a strike, and Ramos gets ahead 1-2.
Way up in the strike zone. Lucas not happy with that call.
Not the first unhappy customer. Michael Conforto on deck. Ramos, the only reliever last night for either side who didn't get in the game. Might get some extra duty tonight if we go extras. 1-2 coming. And he missed with the breaking ball. 2-2.
Yeah, another one of these ball games, Gare. Not as much hitting.
Not yet. Lucas has the biggest hit of the night. A long home run. Grounds that one foul. I'm not sure which one got clocked longer. The one he hit over the batter's eye in Philly on Tuesday night, or the one he hit tonight into the shrubbery. But they were both prodigious drives to center field, both in the 440 plus range. Grounds that one to the right side. Gordon turns, gets the out at second. The relay to first in time for the double play. 4-6-3 double play ends the inning. Didn't think Gordon was going to have enough time, but he got it on target. And the rookie shortstop Riddle turns it over. Marlins tied at 2. Josh Edgin will stay in to pitch the bottom of the ninth. Miguel Rojas, who's 3 for 3, will lead off for Miami.
This game's over without Conforto's throw to home. What a throw that was.
Got the Mets out of trouble in the 7th, gunning down Rojas at the plate by mere millimeters. Edgin got into and out of trouble in the 8th. And now he throws the off-speed pitch to Rojas and gets a foul ball, 1-1. JT Riddle batting 9th in the order on deck, and then D. Gordon. Rojas with 3 hits, Gordon with 3 hits. Of the 9 the Marlins have collected tonight. Both teams rested their slugger tonight. Both Stanton and Cespedes appeared as pinch hitters. They both struck out. Terry Collins and Don Mattingly may have to get very creative before this one's over. Terry knows what he's going to do. He's going to use Salas if he has a save situation. Other than that, he's going to go to Gilmartin in extra innings. Fouled away. That's why Sean Gilmartin was called up from Vegas, scheduled to start tonight for the Mets AAA affiliate. So he is primed to go many innings if need be. Seems to recall Sean was involved in that 18-inning game in St. Louis 2 years ago. In fact, I think he even had a hit in extra innings in that game. 2-2. Up and away. The other guys on that list who've not been used, Reed and Smoker and Robles, all basically unavailable tonight. Reed went 2 innings last night. Smoker went 3. Robles has pitched 4 days in a row. Evans, Montero have already been used. 3-2 from Edgin, and outside, ball 4, and Rojas is on base for the 4th straight time. He threw him a 3-2 changeup and missed badly with it.
Find that hard to believe.
They're your team. Take them with you wherever you go. You can now watch SNY Mets games on any device with live streaming presented by Verizon on SNY.TV and the NBC Sports app. Your home for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Well, you have to presume that JT Riddle is going to be asked to lay down a bunt.
I would agree with you. Top of the order coming behind him, a very red hot Gordon, who hits left-handers well.
Riddle was 0 for 2 in a sacrifice bunt last night. Remember, he had that bunt that went past the mound that Rene Rivera fielded?
Yes.
Reyes ready to crash from third, and Riddle gets the bunt foul. It was funny because you mentioned at the time Rivera, an inexperienced first baseman, had he played it correctly, would not have been in position to field the bunt.
If he had been more aggressively charging, Duda had been in the game. And Duda, if he was still in the game, that would have been a base hit.
Duda flashing signs to the infield in the bunt. In past years, it's always been the third baseman who's flashed the infield signs, but with David Wright not available, it's Duda who gets that assignment. Riddle fouls it off in the batter's box, and it's 0-2. So when Duda's flashing the signs to the infield, what are the things that he's trying to convey?
There's there's a potential for 4 plays, but usually there's 3. The usual bunt where everybody charges, and there's also a play on a pickoff. I mean, there's only so much you can do with the runner on first base. I don't understand this. At first and second, I can see.
Well, now it's 2 strikes, so the question, I guess, is how aggressively you play for the bunt.
But a lot of it is whether Edgin's going to throw over. I mean, runner on first base, you're not going to have your second baseman's going to cover first. Everybody's going to charge on the corners. Shortstop covers second. It's not calculus.
0-2 coming. He's set to swing, and it's inside, and he did not offer at it. 1-2. So they took the bunt off on 0-2. And now Riddle looking down at Freddie Gonzalez to see if it's back on. D. Gordon waiting on deck. Gordon's already got 3 hits tonight. And there's nobody up in the Mets bullpen. This is on Edgin to get this game to extra innings. again. 1-2 coming. Popped up. Rivera coming back. Here the screen to make the catch. Ball didn't have a lot of air under it, so Rene had to hustle to get back there, and that's the first out.
Didn't get the runner over.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Gordon, who's been a pest tonight, single to left, single to right, single to center. He's stolen a base, he's scored a run, he's driven in a run. 3 for 4 on the night.
Reyes not playing anywhere, around 5 feet behind the cut of the grass at third. Coming in now a little bit.
Got to with Gordon. He's always a threat to lay one down.
I agree, Gary.
Well, Edgin, who had a rough night last night and got off to a difficult start tonight, giving up a leadoff hit to Ozuna in the 8th. Trying to do some heavy lifting here to get the Mets through the 9th. And Gordon slices one down the left field line. Conforto racing over. Can't get to it. A foul ball. Good effort by Michael, who has the defensive play of this game. Mets have made a couple of terrific plays in the outfield. The catch Granderson made on Ichiro.
Yes.
And the throw that Conforto made to gun down Rojas at the plate.
And Gordon's made 2 nice plays on the other side on the infield. Actually 3 nice plays.
JT Realmuto on deck. And Gordon flies one to shallow left. Easy for Conforto. And that's the second out. So big out for Edgin as he retires Gordon. And now they're 2 away, with Rojas still at first and Realmuto coming up. Realmuto is 0 for 3. He was intentionally walked after a 3-2 count his last time up. About Rojas trying to steal a base. Last year he played in 123 games and had 2 stolen bases. The guy at the plate who's a catcher is the faster runner, Realmuto.
With this big outfield, a ball in the gap or down the line, extra base hit's going to score a runner from first.
And the Mets are playing exceptionally deep in the outfield to try and cut that ball down in the gap. Realmuto 0 for 4 in this series. Reyes guarding the line at third, also trying to cut down the double. And Edgin finds the corner. 1-1. Best laid plans, right? Got your ace on the mound, figure he's going to get deep in the game, but Syndergaard goes only 6 because of the blister problem, and now you might have another extra inning game.
But you've made your move. You got your insurance policy with Gil Martin out there.
That was the plan. If you had extra innings, he'd be the guy, and you still have Salas available if you have a save opportunity. 2-1 coming. There's a strike at the knees, and Edgin throwing that changeup gets even on Realmuto. 2-2. There have been some yeoman jobs done in this series by Met relievers. 11 2/3 scoreless innings last night. And so far they have held the Marlins at bay in this game for 2 2/3. By the way, way, the 11 1/3 last night, scoreless from the Mets bullpen, second longest in team history. Back in 1973, the Mets played a 19-inning game at Dodger Stadium, and they had 13 scoreless innings from their pen in that game, including 6 from George Stone. 2-2. Slider misses. Full count. Tug McGraw went 5 innings in relief in that game. The other 2 guys were Phil Hennigan and Jim McAndrew, who got the save in the bottom of the 19th.
I was in Double-A.
I was in bed listening to it under my pillow. Ended about 4 in the morning Eastern time. Rojas runs, 3-2 pitch, fly ball, foul down the left side, and that'll go out of play. Think about that game in '73. You know, the Mets had played 3 of the 5 longest games in history. The 23-inning game they lost to the Giants, the 24-inning game they lost to the Astros, the 25-inning game they lost to the Dodgers. That 19-inning game in '73 was the first really long game in Mets history they actually won. So that was a huge milestone. It was also the coming out party for George Stone in that game, who later became an enormous piece for the Mets down the stretch that season.
Absolutely. Didn't he go 12-3, something like that? They got him from the Braves, left-hander. Was he in the Mian trade or no?
Yes.
Yes.
With Mian.
Yes.
For Gary Gentry. 3-2 coming. Real Muto slams one to right center field, headed toward the gap, and it's down for an extra base hit. Rojas around third. He's going to score the winning run. JT Real Muto with an RBI double in the bottom of the 9th, and the Marlins win it 3-2. The Mets held the 4th the best they could with their beleaguered bullpen, but Josh Edgin couldn't seal the deal in the bottom of the 9th. Real Muto with the runner going drilled one into right center, and Rojas scored from first, and the Mets' 5-game winning streak has come to an end as Miami wins it 3-2.
Well, big gaps here, big outfield. As I said earlier, anything in the gap, even if Rojas wasn't running, he scores on that ball. Good hitting by Real Muto, who's kind of struggled here. Here's the pitch on 3-2. Looks like a fastball up and out over the plate. Real Muto's good high ball hitter, goes right with it, and that's the way go. On the move, 2 outs, don't even care where it is. You're running, and he's busting. Nice game, Rojas.
Rojas on base 4 times, scores twice, including the winning run. Real Muto's first hit of the series gives the Marlins a victory and evens this series at a game apiece.
2 hard-fought, tough ball games played here in Miami.
There's your game summary brought to you by Dodge. Noah Syndergaard threw 87 pitches over 6 innings, gave up just 1 earned run, but left because of an apparent blister. So the Mets patched together Montero to Blevins to Edgin, nearly got them to extra innings, but not quite, as Real Muto's 2-out double in the bottom of the 9th wins it from Miami 3-2. Now the Marlins, who let leads get away each of the last 2 days in the late innings, turn the tables tonight as Real Muto drives home the winner in the bottom of the 9th to give Miami a victory. 3-2.